It's the American home of motorsport in Indianapolis, Indiana, and today we're back with the Fuel IndyCar Series. They're round number 5 from Indianapolis, 125 laps. Tonight, we go racing at this 2.5-mile oval, and it is a big one. It is a fast one, Finian, and IndyCar's here. It's always a great show.
Yeah, definitely so. It's always a great thing to see IndyCars at the track they were named after, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This facility opened in
1920-something.
No,
1900 something.
Yeah,
very old.
1909, and they had the first race. The first Indy 500 was, I believe, in 1916. So this race, one of the only races that have been held for over 100 years, and I can't stress how long that is, considering motorsports pretty much started around the 1900s.
When you talk history, you talk Monaco, you talk Daytona, you talk Darlington, you talk Indianapolis. But this is the holy land. This is the mecca of motorsport here at this 2.5-mile oval. And this is one of the few places got that little stretch in between the corners. Very unique here. You see Danny Roberts go to the top of the board here in qualifying. And we're setting up. We got a full grid of race cars here tonight. It's going to be 125 laps of some high-octane action, and it is a beautiful racetrack here. Let's take a look at the track guide for Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we're heading down to Indianapolis, Indiana, in the Midwest, and it is a beautiful racetrack here from high above. That kind of that rectangular form we're used to seeing, that road course there in the middle. Not using that tonight. We're on the oval. We head down to the front straightaway, and we got that yard of bricks, Finian. This place used to be built out of bricks, millions of them, and it's been replaced with asphalt now, but it's been a long time. We still retain some of those original bricks on that front straightaway, and we head down into turn 1, 230 miles an hour. You got to get that all the way down to the white line. You don't want to slide up wide, you'll hit that wall. And again, this is just a matter of inches between the quickest guy around here and in the wall upside down or crashing. Down the back straightaway, you're going to want to pull yourself off that wall and kind of break the draft with the other cars around you as you head down, get over 230 miles an hour, heading off into turn 3. This is where it gets scary. You got to get that car rotated. No power steering in these machines. All the way down to the white line near the curb. Don't touch it though. As we head into turn 4, you'll see what can happen if you touch that curb. You do not want to get on there. There is no grip there. You'll get yourself wide and smash into that safer barrier. And a good thing we have those here because these things go so fast. The impacts here are just gnarly. And you can see a good look at it here. The Sim Motorsports test machine getting run into the concrete. Of course, we're going to see some carnage tonight. And you got to keep yourself out of it if you want to make it to the end. 125 laps is a long way. We head off a turn 4 onto the front straightaway. You want to be here first, the Pagoda at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You want to be there at the end of the day drinking the milk in victory lane with your team. And it's going to be a hard-fought one here today. You're going to have to draft. You're going to have to be good by yourself. You have to be flawless in pit road and avoid all the carnage at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But, wow, that was all in one breath, but I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely so. And I can't stress this enough, this track almost changes to a completely different type of racing. You know, when these guys, compared to when these guys are running single file, once you put over 30 other cars on the track with you, the draft really has a big player. Kind of similar to what happens at Daytona and Talladega. These guys got to manage being in the draft, being behind someone, because these cars can get tight, loose, and do all sorts of things.
31 cars on the grid here tonight, and we were watching Matt Kingsbury in the 28 machine rolling around right now. Everyone's going to make the field here, Finian, right? Not bumping anyone, but, well, actually, did we just add someone? 27, 28, 29, 30, still 31. But you got to, if you're starting at the back of the field, there's 125 laps. It's not a short race by any means. What do you do if you're the last guy on that grid and you got 125 laps to get to the front?
Patience, I think, has got to be the key. Because you got to imagine, 125 laps, you have over 30 cars. Someone's going to get into the wall at some point. Someone's just going to find it. And especially with the way the draft is, it really puts a lot of push on these cars. And it could really affect it. No trap map.
It's a square, but okay. Okay, ATVO, I see you.
But as I was saying, yeah, these guys just get the cars get so tight in the draft, and they can catch someone or the other out. So I would say we're bound to have a caution. So really, it's just a matter of being patient, pacing yourself, taking this race one corner at a time. And just managing yourself. You have 125 laps, which is a long way to go.
Well, as we're finishing up qualifying here, we got a couple things to take care of real quick. And I think where we'll start is where we've been for the past couple weeks. Of course, This was scheduled over the Scars Ferrari Challenge, which we just came from, so we are unfortunately not able to broadcast all the races here this season. But in round one, the Grand Prix of Miami at Homestead Miami Speedway, Danny Roberts had a great performance there as well. But Jack Ritchie came out on top there with Ray Kingsbury second and Kuhn Evans in third. So that was round one. Round two was at Sebring, at the Sebring National Course, the short course there. That was an exciting one to watch. So Mitchell Welker took the victory there. Zach Buchanan had a strong showing, and Danny Roberts beginning to climb up the order as we've seen him every week. Kuhn Evans again, Will Roberts, Jackson Robillard also had some pretty good runs there. Round three was at ISM Speedway, ISM Raceway. Lots of action. 7 leaders, 6 lead changes throughout that race. Tim Silman came out on top there. So we've had 3 winners so far. Off to round 4, Grand Prix of Monterey at Laguna Seca. And that was Stephen Larkamp back up to the win from 14th position. And Larkamp is back and back to his usual winning ways. And the point situation heading into Indy, Finian, I think you can take care of that if you'd like.
Yeah, so Danny Roberts is going to be leading the points with 138 points. And he's only got a 3-point lead over Cohen Evans behind him. And tied for third is going to be Zach Buchanan and Tim Silman with 134 points. So very close as far as the points are concerned. Behind the top 3 is Kingsbury with Ray leading Matt by 5 points, 124 and 119 respectively. Jackson Robillard is tied with teammate Mitchell Walker for 7th with 118. And behind them, 3 points is Don Runkle Jr. with 115. Travis McQuistion rounds out the top 10 with 103 points.
And let's keep an eye on Mitchell Welker. He's had a lot of pace in recent weeks, and he'll be sitting 7th of those points with 1 less start. So he is off to a great start to the season, and we'll see how well it shapes up for the next week's round at the mile. But again, Finian, Indianapolis, a unique racetrack. It's the big one. If you're going to win one race all season, I think every driver would want it to be this one.
Yeah, again, because can't say about how iconic this place is. It's one of the most iconic racetracks in the world, one of the oldest, and there's just so much history and heritage for it. You want to win this one over any other race.
Checkered flag in the air for qualifying, and it looks like that will put Danny Roberts on pole. And we were not used to, it's not a stranger to see that vehicle up front, the number 30 of Danny Roberts. But as we get gridded here, we're going to play a very special song for Indianapolis and show you the gridding as these guys are getting on the racetrack.
Home again in Indiana, and it seems that I can see the gleaming candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. The new moon sends out its fragrance through the fields I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I long for my Indiana home.
All right, with that out of the way here, Finian, we're just about to get rolling here, and there's 31 cars on the grid. We're working our way through 17th and 18th right now. Brandon Minto and Jesse Gilbert, David Leclerc, John Martin, all the guys back here battling for these spots. But we talked about starting position at this racetrack. Does it mean anything?
Considering how long this race is, honestly not. I mean, I just cannot see us going green all the way from lap 1 all the way to lap 125. But, you know, you definitely can't entirely win it from all the way from the back. You can definitely lose it from there. And, you know, those guys have to move up through traffic. It's a lot of cars to pass. Yes, it's definitely daunting. But, again, there's a lot of time to work with it. You know, if you can't really get up to there, you know, it's just not meant to be. Really, key is being patient, considering how many cars we have out here tonight.
Field rolls off on the front straightaway for their pace lap, and we're going off and ready to go as we head down. No 3-wide start here this week, unfortunately. I kind of was looking forward to that, to be honest, but pace cars are going to roll through turns 1 and 2 as we're finishing up our starting grid. And Jacob Crosser in the 85 will be bringing up the rear of the field. And that is all for the grid. look at the size of that field. It is a beautiful thing at Indianapolis to have a full grid of race cars.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not doing a 3-wide traditional IndyCar start. It was just too much, really, to get everyone sorted out here. And as we saw last time we were here with pretty much these group of guys just under the ISDC banner, it was a lot of work to get done. So we're going to be a little bit more simple here. We're going to have a double-wide start, but you can just see how many cars coming down the back straightaway.
And I'm thankful I've upgraded my graphics card since then, because I'm doing a lot better on frames this time than it was the last time through. I know that was a struggle when we were here. But Danny Roberts in that number 30, the red colors on that car, we saw him the couple races that we did for the ISDC, dominant force. But I can't remember if he was wrecked out of the ISDC time. I'm pretty sure he was. But again, we'd have to look back on that to confirm. So we have a couple drivers up front that are going to be hard to beat. And one of those guys is going to be Stephen Larkamp in that 14. And he is going to be starting on the outside of that front row. And he's going to be another guy to watch out for. The guys on the front row. And then you got to throw in Mitchell Welker in the 76. These are all going to be people to watch throughout this race, and we'll keep the cameras on them as we get there. But Danny Roberts in that Ferrari-colored IR18 rolls off the final corner. The pace car pulls off. We have 125 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we are green. Already drivers switching lanes, trying to get themselves fanned out as we head down to turn 1.
Yeah, the entire top 10 pretty much is all single-filed out at the moment, as is usually what happens at Indy. And pretty orderly start. You see everyone kind of getting themselves situated and getting in line, getting to that draft, and getting this race underway, and kind of starting to pace yourself already. And it's going to be a long one for these guys. 125 laps.
Oh, look at this mess heading down into turn 3. We're 3 wide for a moment. And looks like Larkamp's going to steal the lead away from Danny Roberts. But Roberts is trying to come back around on that outside. He's got to slip back into the over-under on the front straightaway.
Yeah, and that's really what happens like with the draft, what you see on super speedways and NASCAR. You see everyone kind of bunch up towards the front, and IndyCar is not much different in that respect. You see already they're 2 by 2 wide.
Nick Cohan in that orange machine, he was looking really aggressive in that 21, but he's going to slide up and take 4th away from Tim Silliman in the 39 as we're going to head off to turn 2 again. This is going to be some high-octane action today. See, look at Roberts pulling the whole field down. And caution is out, and it's Nathan Bowers in the 0-3. Hard crash over there. I believe that's in between turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, that car is pretty much destroyed. That's going to be a DNF for him. I can't see him doing any much more with that car. But let's try to see what happened with him.
And it looked like this was just a single car incident, but here's a replay of it in the 0-3.
Oh, yeah, and got tight,
ooh.
Yep.
And ooh, someone else behind him drilled the wall, too. But pretty severe damage there. Wow, flipped over, too.
Ooh, yeah. And again, that's what I was talking about. These cars handle a lot more differently than they do when they're by themselves. By themselves, you can floor it the entire way around, but in going to turn 1 especially, you really need to let off the gas. And it doesn't look like Nathan did that.
Not early enough, at least.
Yeah. He did it when it was too late. You have to let off going into the corner, otherwise you're going to find that wall, and he found it hard.
So caution out in the early stages of this one. There's been a lot of action up front. And Danny Roberts was able to steal the lead back away from Stephen Larkamp. But Nick Cohan made a really aggressive move on the front straightaway, and so he is trying to make do with what he's got. He's already up 4 spots in 3 laps, so an impressive beginning stage for Nick Cohan in the 21.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. You know, like I was talking about it, the positions will come if you time your moves right and just a little bit patient, some cool heads. You should be able to advance pretty easily here with the draft in play. So as you saw there, Cohan able to move up 4 positions already from the start of the race.
Oh, looking from high above, the beautiful Indianapolis Speedway here, and so far the racing up front has been great. We saw a lot of action up front with Danny Roberts, Stephen Larkamp, Matt Kingsbury also throwing his hat into the ring as well, Nick Cohan, Tim Silliman. But the Kingsbury boys both in the top 6 right now, and where we see any pit stops, it looks like we will, and I believe that's the 28 of Kingsbury will be the first one to drag him down, and Nick Cohan is with them too.
Oh, a lot of guys faking.
Second.
Wow!
Oh my goodness. Oh, we got to get a replay of that.
Yeah, we do.
That was about as close as you ever want to come to the wall at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That pit road attenuator is scary driving by it at speed, but even at slow speed, maybe it looked worse from our camera angle.
I don't know. I mean, looking from this...
Oh, that was pretty close.
Yeah, that's pretty close. And again, these guys are going about 70 miles an hour. So you're doing highway speed trying to avoid a wall.
It looks like Cohan was the first one to make the decision, and I think that kept Kingsbury out on the track.
Yeah, great job by him to avoid it last second, but that could have been very bad if he didn't time that right.
Yeah, they timed it just right, indeed. And there's Travis McQuistion. We're familiar with him and his Craftsman paint scheme over from the Fuel Cup side of things. Again, that's Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And McQuistion's had some increasing luck there lately, and here he is running top 10 early in the going here.
Yeah, he qualified really solidly, I think in 10th, or around around where he is now, so he's kind of staying at, but yeah, started in 12th, so he moved up 2 spots. So not a bad job, and he's, again, in 10th place, which is a really good position. Around the top 10 is where you kind of want to be as far as being towards the front, because everyone usually there kind of groups up together in that pack we are seeing kind of form on lap 2.
And looking from the Pagoda right now, and thanks to Finian for putting these cameras together. And we're looking at McQuistion there. But Derek Pemberton here in the 81, the Verizon-colored paint scheme, had a struggle the other night in the Fuel Cup Series race at Charlotte and ended up DNFing out of that one, but hopefully trying to improve his luck here tonight, running 11th at this time.
Yeah, so he's, again, doing a solid job here. At Charlotte earlier in the week, didn't have the best of nights. Kind of struggled there, as long as a lot of people did with that car. Very difficult combination for those guys tonight to see him out running well in 11th.
Well, let's take a look at the split strategy that we saw on the. We see a couple more drivers coming to get service. The first driver to take service was Jack Ritchie in the 72, and we know he was the winner of the first round of the season. So maybe this isn't a bad idea to side with the guy that has won a race already. He has something up his sleeve. I just can't imagine that there's too much advantage to tires and fuel at this point.
Yeah, no, just not with the amount of laps that they've run. They've only done 2 laps under green conditions, so the tires definitely left fresh. And tire strategy isn't really something too much on the IndyCar side of things. Definitely later on in the run, once the tires get worn, you definitely want to come in for some tires. But earlier on, it's not really going to have the same effect like it would on a stock car. So, you know, maybe I guess just getting a pit stop out of the way. Considering how far back he is, he's all the way in 20th. Yeah,
started 13th, so it's a little bit of a slip backwards for Ritchie. But again, pretty crazy at the beginning of the race here, and you don't really want to throw your race away. So I think guys being conservative in the beginning stages of this race, trying to get themselves out of harm's way, heading into the remainder of this race. Heading down the back straightaway now, and we're coming to the green this time through.
Yeah, we still got 28 cars left on the track. I believe only 29 took the green flag.
I think Jacob Crosser did. I just think he was one of the other cars
that
was involved.
Did.
He bounced off the wall in turn 1 alongside the 0-3 of Nathan Bowers. Although Nate Buck, I don't remember seeing that. Or Nate Burke, excuse me. I don't remember seeing that name on the racetrack. Maybe you're right. But looking from the Pagoda, I love this camera. This is cool. And again, the Pagoda, you want to be there at the end of the day drinking the milk, but it's a long road to get there. We have 120 laps to go when we take the green this time through. And Danny Roberts in that number 30 is going to be the one to lead him back down with Steven Larkamp right here. Single file restarts, you can pass to the right, and that's why you see everybody kind of hoarding that wall space there.
And there you see Roberts jump on the throttle, and the green flag is going to be back in the air here in Indianapolis.
A lot of juking in the rear of the field here, Finian. Get them up to speed, but I think everyone's going to make it through okay. We'll head back up front, and Roberts shot out like a cannon on this restart.
Yeah, great job, and you're going to see these guys got a lot more spread out than they did earlier when they started side-by-side, but that's going to really quickly change. You can already see that Larkamp's closing in. And there he goes to the outside. This is a prime opportunity to do it while these cars are still getting up to speed.
Oh, look at Kingsbury to the inside.
Wow. And go ahead and try to look to the outside. They're making it 3 wide into turn 3.
Kingsbury just laid it all out on the line early in the going. Look at him twitching around there. He is aggressive, and he wants that lead. He jumped to it. He's got it already. And he's going to clear Larkamp, who gets tight off the final corner. But down the front straightaway now, they're going to be side by side to the bricks.
And down they head back into turn 1 here. We're going to see Kenny pull off the move. Larkamp's going to be on the outside. He's going to have the run exiting the corner. But it looks like Kingsbury's able to cut him off there.
Drifts up in front of him just in time. Larkamp's going to slide in behind. Look at Nick Cohan, though, aggressive behind him. And Dan Roberts has slipped to 4th. How quickly a lap can change things at Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I think that just shows how much of, as a leader, you're kind of a sitting dog without any sort of draft. You have to get up to speed under your own power, while meanwhile everyone else can draft off of you. And you see Cohan now diving to the inside of Kingsbury.
The draft extremely strong here tonight, and so Kingsbury is going to slip back to 2nd. Nick Cohan takes the lead in that orange number 21. So he's already out to a great start. And looks like Kingsbury going to dive back down to the inside. And this is a very 2014-esque race. We've got a battle going on behind this group, and there's looks like McQuistion there outside of Eben Adams, or excuse me, that's Cohen Evans, and then Eben Adams right there in the 59 right behind them.
Yeah, these guys actually kind of got a little bit separated from the main pack here, so it looks like about ninth on ahead is in the front group, and then the second group here is 10th on back.
Head back up to the lead because it's changing again, and Nick Cohan side by side with Kingsbury, but Kingsbury drifts wide again. You got to worry about Kingsbury's tires because he's been charging the corners extremely hard.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of a thing you got to pace yourself as well. Is just not just your tempers or your patience. It's also your tires as well. You don't want to use them up too much, and it can be very abrasive. And you'll definitely notice the tires wearing out as the run goes on. So you don't want to be a little bit more careful with it. You don't want to wear them out too much.
Riding on board, Stephen Larkamp, the driver of the number 14 car, and he's going to come off of the corner. You see the group starting to spread out just a little bit, and you see Danny Roberts closing in on the tail. I love this camera. Roberts swings to the outside, but you got to be careful here, just because once the tires start running off, you're not going to be able to make the moves that you make right on the restarts.
Yeah, so again, just got to be a little bit careful as the run goes on. You can see, I'm just amazed that Roberts was able, or not able to, but he fell. The fact that he fell back all the way to 4th position hasn't really been able to do much since, and he's got Tim Silman right behind him in 5th.
I believe Silman's got a rig share on board that, and of course the series sponsor of SimTV in general and the Fuel Cup Series. And so we do definitely have 2 separate groups there, and Travis McQuistion is leading that second group.
Yeah, these guys, again, it's going to be hard for them to try to catch the leading group from where they are at the moment. If they can just make sure to keep single file, not worry about passing each other, and just stay there. Maybe kind of jockey for position to transfer the draft so they can piggyback off one another to catch each other. That's the only way they're going to do it. They're not going to be able to catch them by passing one another.
And again, Eben Adams, he's been around this series for a long time. I don't think I've seen him in a race in a long time, though. It's been a very long time, maybe since the ISCC days. But here he is running 13th early in the going, and Derek Pemberton behind him.
Pemberton, I think he fell off about 3 positions since the race got restarted. So has some work to do to try to get back up there.
You see already, you can hear the tires beginning to strain a little bit. And we're not that far into the run, but the tires have a lot of good in them that goes away very quickly. You see Jack Ritchie and Owen Morgan side by side now. That's going to be for the 15th spot, heading into turn 3.
Yeah, and again, on the outside, you're a little bit defenseless there, but the guy who has the draft is passing on the inside. You kind of just have to let him go through and cycle out back behind him.
Let's go back up to that lead group, and it looks like Kenneth McCoy and Mitchell Welker in the Cordis Autosport IR18, and he is close behind. And again, Welker's one of those guys we've got to keep an eye on. Started 7th, running 8th, so he's kind of right where he started, but I expect that car to move forward as the race goes on and tires start to wear out. I think that's where you see Mitchell's talent start to come in to play. But up front, again, Cohan's jumped out a little bit of a lead, but Roberts, Kingsbury, and Silliman now engaged in battle for 3rd.
We're missing someone from that. There's someone up there as well. I think I might just be losing myself. But, ooh. See them all dive down. See, all the way to the wall there. Cohen takes them.
So, yeah, Larkamp and Cohan have been really the class of the field so far, trading blows. But are they wearing out their tires too early to be doing this, Finian? Or is it just better to get in line and run single file?
I think it's just better to get in line or run single file. I mean, again, very long race to go. And I mean, you know, while it's fun to jockey for a position, have a nice fight for the lead here and there, you also do want to worry about your tires and, you know, weaving all over the track and making aggressive tight turns into the corners. It's going to wear out those tires very quickly by doing so. And actually, I think Eben Adams just took the access road. He's in 20th right now. So I'm not sure if something's wrong with his car. Yeah, he has some right side damage.
Does he have some right side damage? We'll have to go back, take a look, and see what happened. I think he's coming down to pit road to fix it here, Finian. But maybe potentially got tight off of turn 2. No. Oh, he got it long before then, I think.
Yeah. See if you can try to catch that. Might have been into
Got to be down into 1 and 2. And caution's out right now, and it's going to be Nick Cohan is involved. We're going to cut back to live here, Finian, and it's going to be Nick Cohan. And he was the race leader, and that car is trashed, and that's going to be race over for the 21. This is just like Tuesday in the Fuel Rig Share Cup Series.
Yeah, definitely want to see what happened to him, though. We're going to cut to a replay, see what happened with him. And
again, this is one of those things, maybe being aggressive out of the gate. He got all by himself, slipped.
Yeah.
And he got into Larkamp too. A little bit of contact there, and everyone scatters trying to miss him. Wow, that's a rare mistake for Nick Cohan. And again, A little bit too low. And maybe he's this turn 2 here. Let's see if he dives a little bit too low and catches. Yeah, you saw beginning of the curb there.
Yeah, you saw the left tire struggle a bit. He kind of bounced up and down, and he immediately lost some grip there. So I think he felt the car get upset, was ready to counter. Yeah, he went out wide trying to catch the car again. We'll see a replay here again.
Yeah, this is a good angle here because you'll see it wiggle, and as he caught it, it just understeered straight into the wall right there.
Yeah.
And up into the wall, nothing you can do, and it just catches Larkamp's right rear. And I don't know if Larkamp is coming to come down and fix that. I don't think he thinks he has any damage. Oh, that's such a hard impact.
Yeah. From the looks of it, Larkamp should be good with some rear wing damage. I think they replaced that. Don't quote me on that. I know they replaced the front wing.
Yeah.
But definitely Cohen, his day is done. That car is crabbing, and once you're doing that, these cars cannot take a hit at all. So that's pretty much going to be day over for Nick Cohen. You got to feel for him.
Shame. I mean, again, so competitive in everything that he runs. And remember at ISM Raceway a week ago too, he led the whole race practically and ends up losing it on a strategy call at the end. You got to feel for Nick Cohen. Just bad luck recently. But the field heads down onto the pit lane. And Stephen Larkamp's going to come down. And let's take a look from Denny Roberts' car, see if we can see anything. Yeah, definitely some wing damage on that for number 14.
I also noticed to the rear part of the side pod, I don't know what they call that component, the part that goes right up to the rear tire on the right side. It's a little bit dented as well. He's gonna have to stick with that the rest of the way. See a little bit of a scrape there on the right side end of the side pod. You see everyone come down pit road.
It's a busy place down there right
now. It
now.
is.
Well, oh, look at that caution light up there on the grandstands. I've never noticed that before. That's nice. Nice work, iRacing. Off the pit lane, we're going to have a couple changes of position.
Yeah, Larkamp's going to have to sit there, fix his damage, because you cannot race with any sort of aero damage that could definitely hurt you, as it's so dependent on this track. And there, Larkamp, you can see him coming out of the pits now, and across the line he comes all the way back in 20th. Yeah.
So, from leader to 20th place goes Larkamp. Tim Silliman is actually going to take over the lead. You know who this was a big break for? Eben Adams.
Yeah, he got a huge break there. Well, we weren't able to really show it, but he got into the wall exiting turn 1, which seems to be one of the real trouble spots for these guys, as it usually is. So he got a little. I think he got off with some side pod damage. I'm not sure how the handling of that car is. That's a completely different story, and only he knows how that's handling at the moment. But he's currently out there just ahead of the leaders. He's going to have to take a wave around to get back on the track. Or get back on the lead lap.
Looks like it's actually in pretty good shape there. So whatever damage he had, it seems repaired. But Tim Silliman jumps to the lead in the number 39 Rigshare IR18 with Ray Kingsbury right behind. And look who's in third. Danny Roberts, not much of a surprise there. Mitchell Welker starting to work his way through the field in P4 in that number 76.
Yeah, with that caution too, it allowed guys like McQuistion and Buchanan, who are 6th and 7th, they were able to catch back up with this lead pack. And Cohen
in the chat.
Yeah, he left a nice little comment out. I definitely feel for you, man. Really unfortunate end to both your races
this week. Just not been a good week for Nick Cohen.
Not a good week. So, better for the future. Next week in both series, actually.
I would say the orange is a bad luck color, but
that's more green.
He was green on Tuesday.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, but just not going his way. But well, let's see if there's anything else interesting in the top 10. Travis McQuistion in the 93 jumps up to 6th in that caution sequence. So from 12th to 6th for McQuistion. So things are looking good for him. Zach Buchanan in the number 40 car started all the way back in 10th. That's not that far. And he's up to 7th now, so things are going good for the 40.
Let's go with an onboard of Larkamp's view just to see how many cars are ahead of him. He's in 20th right now.
That is a big line of cars.
Yeah, it's a very, very long list of cars to
looking
pass.
At that starting position versus where he's running. And the thing is there's nothing he could have done. He pulled all the way out of the way of the 21 at Cohan and just an innocent victim in that, and things did not go the way he needed.
Yeah, so looking at the rear wing, it looks like they were able to fix that, so that's a good mental note that they can replace that on this car. Wasn't too sure because they changed the chat. I wasn't sure if they actually made that a fixed part. So he's got a new rear wing on there, so he's going to have all the downforce he really needs to try to charge back up through the field, and he has a lot of work to do ahead of him.
Yeah, let's just look from high above. So right now we're going to focus on Larkamp right in the middle of your screen, and we're going to just head up the field as we take a look at there's 7th, 5th, And Tim Silliman all the way up in front. So there's a long line of cars. In single file restarts, you don't get the advantage of shortening up the grid.
Yeah, no, if anything, it spreads out the grid more than it would on a double file start, so he's got that to deal with as well. But I think the driver that he is, I mean, he was dominating when this was the ISTC. Every race that we were watching, him and Roberts were doing a fantastic job, and even this season as well.
Yes, I agree that he is very dominant, but again, you can easily get caught up in somebody else's incident. That's what got him put back there in the first place, and when you surround yourself with 20 other cars, it gets a lot harder to control your own destiny.
Yeah, so I think he definitely has the car to get there, but as long as he can stay out of trouble, yeah, that's really going to be the key here. As the lights on the pace car go out, we're going to have one more lap of pacing to do before we go green back on lap 19.
So 2 early cautions have slowed the pace of this race, but one was a single car, well, really 2-car incident. And then we had, of course, the leader, Nick Cohan, slip up in turn 2, and that's something we're going to have to watch. We mentioned it in the track guide, Finian. There is such a fine line of grip here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I mean, you can use below the white line in the corners, but if you get an inch over that seam, you can see that where the pavement's lighter there. You get an inch over that seam, absolutely no grip. You get an inch above that seam, absolutely no grip.
Yeah.
You have to be right on your money here, and don't even try passing in the corners without crashing yourself on old tires.
It's very hard to make a pass work in the corners. You have to really know what you're doing and know how the car is going to exit the corner beforehand. You can't decide to change your line mid-corner because A, you're going 200 miles an hour into the corner, so by the time you already think of the corner, you're already exiting. So you got to know how the car is going to handle in, out of the corner in the draft, and know all these things. That's why IndyCars are very hard to drive in the draft. Not so much by themselves, but the draft is a completely different story.
The aero push, again, you mentioned it, Finney, and that's something that all these drivers are having to deal with. And sometimes it catches you out, and by the time you realize what's happening, you're already pounded into the safer barrier. So you have to react quick here. The lightning quick reaction times of these drivers are what keep them out of the wall. And you lapse that judgment for 1 second, you're going to have a bad day. So we still have a long way to go in this race. And looks like Tim Silliman, Ray Kingsbury, Danny Roberts has been quick, but interestingly, I haven't seen Roberts. He's doing great. Don't get me wrong, but not the dominance I would have expected out of that 30.
Give him about a lap here. I think we're going to see Tim Silliman probably drop back because he's in the lead. He's going to be a sitting duck, but we'll see what he can do. And he's going to wait, and green flag is in the air.
Fires off. You already see a couple people shooting out. Wow, there's a blue car back there, and see lots of tires spinning.
I think the 17 of Cohen Evans, he did not get going. And some contact there between 2 cars. As they're nearly 4 wide entering 1.
And there's definitely a damaged race car there, and I can't tell which one it is.
It's the 38 of Brian Greenlee, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, hopefully, and
he's out into the back of, I think it's Owen Morgan, unfortunately, or Tyre Dolger, I think it is.
Yeah, but lots of action back here, but there's Larkamp behind all that, but up for the lead. Look at them. We got 3 wide for a second, and here comes Ray Kingsbury in the 52 around the outside, and Danny Roberts takes over P2.
Told you give him a lap.
Well, we're not done with the lap yet. I think Roberts might actually have him by the bricks here. And the slingshot move that we're so used to seeing in Indianapolis, here he comes to the inside now. He's going to have a heck of a run. To the lead he goes, Danny Roberts in the 30.
And, yep, beat him to the line. So there we go. Danny Roberts to the lead in a lap. Silvan's going to fall in behind him on the inside of Kingsbury. Kingsbury just going to cut him off as they exit 1.
And into turn 2 now. Front group pretty sorted out, but let's head back a little ways and see it's not so sorted back here. There's Derek Pemberton, and right behind him, Kenneth McCoy was one of the drivers that dove out of the way on the restart.
Yeah, so again, because of what happened on the restart, the field's separated yet again.
And here's Stephen Larkamp back here with Don Runkle Jr. and that purple number 00 there, and Larkamp's going to get around him and make that move to the inside and take over 17th spot away. But let's head back up to the lead. We got a gaggle up
wow.
here.
Almost into the
wide.
Almost into the pit wall there. That's how close they dove to it. And Roberts is going to defend that for now. Kingsbury is going to do all he can on the outside.
And into turn 2 now. Again, he's way out of the groove is Kingsbury. He's got to be careful, though. A couple laps older tires. That wouldn't have worked so well. They chase each other all the way down to the white line. Caution out again. And it's Travis McQuistion, I believe. Oh, he's way off track. Jesse Gilbert in the 48, and that's a Cordis machine.
And that car is totaled.
Yeah, indeed. Well, actually, you know what, Finian? Oh, yeah, it's pretty well totaled.
Yeah, his side pod is completely gone, and wow, okay. Seeing a preview of that from the replay.
Oh, it looks like McCushing got in the wall.
Oh.
That, you know what that look reminds me exactly like, Finney, to Scott Dixon's crash in the 2017 500.
Yeah.
And up and on the, I would say roof, but more of the
Larkamp
balance point.
Larkamp just nearly scraped by.
Well, let's ride on board the roll bar here with the number 48. This is going to be a hard impact here.
You see McQuistion get into the wall, and and McQuistion was trying to do all he could to get off the track because he knew his car was damaged. But Gilbert dedicated himself to the bottom. They both met each other. And again, I can't stress enough how quick these cars are going. It happens within seconds, and you have to make your judgment very quickly.
And riding on board McQuistion's vehicle here, again, this is one of those things where by the time you classify what you're feeling as understeer, it's too late. Enters the corner a little bit high, gets down a little bit low, second guesses his steering input there, and that's what got him in the wall.
Yeah, I noticed he got a little bit of curb there into one that shot him up just a little bit offline, and that was enough to send him into the wall.
Take another look at it here from another camera for the number 93. And you mentioned he got a little bit of curb, and this is just dipping a little bit too far down below the line.
Yeah, he hit a little bit of a bump in the line. It was similar to what happened with Cohen and sent the car up the track. Yeah, so. And
I did want to ride on board with Stephen Larkamp because he got through that mess somehow.
Very, very close though to what happened.
We're back a little ways of straightaway. You saw that was, I believe, Kenneth McCoy in the 68 had dove to pit road before that caution, which ended up probably being a good thing. You're off into turn one, and you're flying in here at 200 plus miles an hour, and you see some smoke up ahead. You think the track's clear. All of a sudden, you see that car flipping down the banking on the brakes. Woo! Right by.
Yeah. And again, it's a lot harder to see from where he is because you're lower in, much lower in the car. So it's really hard to see what's happening until the corner happens. But with that happening, Larkamp's able to jump up 2:14 as pit stops are underway.
Yeah, Derek Pemberton on back, so that was really 12th on back is going to pit. And Kenneth McCoy had pitted right before that yellow. He'll get back out on track and pass all those guys and be in P12 for the restart. But Danny Roberts hangs on to the lead. Look at Eben Adams around there, going to get a lap back, and he'll be back in the game here in that 59 car.
Yeah, I see him being able to fix all that damage to his car and should be back underway.
Well, we're 23 laps into this, almost 100 to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Fuel IndyCar Series, round 5, presented here on Sim TV. It's been a doubleheader evening. We still have a long way to go, but already out of the gate, Danny Roberts in the 30, showing a dominant self. We had Stephen Larkamp and Nick Cohen get together in a violent impact for that 21 car that put him out of contention early, but we got a long way to go, and it's still totally up in the air.
Yeah, notably, too, it's no one's really gotten into each other. Or at least before a wreck happened. After is a different story. But a lot of these incidents have been single-car incidents, and it's really not to any fault of the driver. I mean, you could say, oh, they should take the corners out lighter, but I mean, that's just how it is. Again, the way they enter the corners, you could be completely fine entering in, right speed and everything. If you just hit a bump in the track the wrong way, it'll send you flying up to the outside wall.
My thing is like, you're entering these corners at 230 miles an hour. You can turn into the corner. You can make a slight mistake. You can be offline by an inch. And your brain has to realize in that split second to catch your mistake. And what happened, from what I saw with McQuistion, is he got down on the apron, realized he was going to hit the curb or hit a bump or something, and just all it took was that little wiggle, the second guess to the steering wheel, Finian. And by that time, you can't get the wheel turned back in. The brakes will just send you in the wall. Turning more just understeers you in. It's a matter of inches. If you mess it up, it's catastrophic. If you get it right, you have the chance to win at Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I think this really is one of these car and track combinations that separates the men from the boys. It takes a lot of experience to use. You can't just jump in an IndyCar and get an IndyCar race and expect to do well. It's very hard. You need to know these cars in and out and how they handle. And I mean, guys like Roberts and Larkamp and the like, and we've seen them. They're up there for a reason because they know how to drive these cars here, and that's really what matters. What matters at the end of the day.
So already out of the gate, we've had a couple drivers that have come through the field a long way. I think the 5 of Brandon Minto, I believe, he's had a pretty up 10 spots for the 5, and so that's going pretty well for him. DJ Allen in the 9, haven't seen him up here, and he's running in the top 10 now from a starting spot of 22nd. So Allen trying to get his orange number 9 up a little bit farther up the grid.
Notice Jack Ritchie is spending quite a bit of time in the pits. I don't know entirely why. He was in there for over a minute. Yeah, he was in there for about 30 seconds more than what a normal pit stop would be. So I wonder if he was fixing damage. But that car looks clean and completely fine. So
yeah, I mean that.
Unless he had something to do. Yeah, in real life, he maybe had to adjust something.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. Or he could have just gotten some minor damage, maybe from avoiding the crash on the grass or something. But again, Richie won the opening round of the year. So a competitive race car for sure, and hopefully he can get himself back up into this mess. So we've lost 4 drivers to Indianapolis fate so far today. So we have 26 cars still out on the racetrack. Is that right? 27 cars out on the racetrack, excuse me.
Yeah, still quite a few cars left to go and take this race, as we're just about to go about 101.
Yeah, when we take the green, there'll be 100 laps to go. So shortened from 125 laps to 100 laps effectively, and Danny Roberts still out in front. So he's never really even started the race yet. So he'll be in a good spot. Ray Kingsbury, really the Kingsbury brothers in general, looking very aggressive on the starts. Although I think Matt is more willing to make those crazy moves like we saw at the beginning of the race. It's
kind of bad that I just realized there's 2 Kingsburys.
Yes.
Probably shouldn't.
I'm not going to say that they're brothers, because I said that about Rick and Fred Thompson, and those are actually father and son in the Fuel Rickshaw Cup Series.
Close enough.
I mean,
related.
Is it wrong to assume that they're brothers? I mean, don't
not
assume.
Really. I think, you know what? I think we're used to it because Andrew and Eric are brothers. That's probably what we're thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't.
They're related.
My father playing this, you know.
Yeah, especially my dad as well.
He doesn't get it. He just likes that it make money from it. He's a traditional dad.
Yeah. So Ray Kingsbury and Matt Kingsbury, they're related. Don't know how. I'm gonna go with brothers.
Maybe they're sisters. Maybe they're really throwing us off.
I don't even want to think about that, but end of the day, they're running 2nd and 5th, so they're
Rainey and Maddie.
Fantastic job.
I guess someone's got to play Darrell Waltrip under the yellow Sphinx. All right, coming to the green, we'll have 100 laps to go. Danny Roberts in the Ferrari-sponsored IR18 will be up front, and Tim Silman in third of the Rigshare-sponsored number 39. Of course, Rigshare sponsors SimTV and the Rigshare Fuel Cup Series. And of course, you can find, I don't think I have the link in this video description, but of course you can find Rigshare services in one of our Fuel Rigshare Cup Series videos, and go check out there. They're a cryptocurrency mining company from the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania, specializing in crypto mining services. And we have some exciting news hopefully coming out next couple weeks relating to that. So Tim Silman, of course, helps us out and sponsors that series, and we're coming to the green here. Finney and Danny Roberts is going to have it this time through.
And he's going to keep these guys waiting, and there he goes on the gas, and the green flag's going to be back out here in Indianapolis. 100 laps to go.
You got to watch the checkup towards the rear of the field, though. It looks like everyone's pretty disorganized. Again, it's the long focal length making this look a little bit more crazy than it would otherwise be. There's Phillip Clark in the orange and blue car on the right-hand side of your screen there, now on the left, trying to make his way forward. Had a great run at Charlotte for the Rigshare Fuel Cup Series after starting dead last, and ended up coming up, finishing 12th in that race by just avoiding the carnage. But let's head back up to the lead, because we're going to have a crazy battle down the back straightaway.
And you see Roberts doing everything he can to hold off Kingsbury and Silman. But Kingsbury's going to try again on that outside, as we've seen him do pretty much all night long for the most part.
Silman is going to jump up to P2. Does he clear the 52 of Kingsbury? Does not. And that's going to bring a pack of 5 cars. Look at them all the way down on the wall. You got to be careful not to run into it.
Yeah, Welker almost hit the wall there, but kept off of it. These guys do such a great job with that. But almost left the door open for, I think that's Zach Buchanan there in the 40. He's trying to join up this battle for the first time tonight.
Buchanan having a good run early in the going here, but look at Roberts. He's not going to have the lead at the end of the straightaway here. It looks like Silman was side drafting, but didn't get as good of a run off the corner as I thought he would.
Oh, here comes Kingsbury. Does he look to the outside? He does, and there you see Silman dart to defend his position, but that's allowed Roberts to now take the inside line through.
Oh, not quite clear, though, and Silman's going to duck back in and make a show of it as we're going to head back onto the straightaway. And look at them chasing each other all the way to the pit road attenuator, and Roberts missed it by an inch, but here comes Silman, and Silman will actually have the lead at the line. Yes, he does, by an inch.
Yeah, again, that's just really how close it comes down to with the IndyCars, the way they drive, and...
Careful there.
Yeah, almost touching wheels there. That's definitely something you don't want to do in these cars.
On the back straightaway again. Roberts almost hit the grass that time through. They're being very, very racy down the back straightaway.
And notably, that 17 of Eben,
Evans,
yeah, he has some damage to his rear wing.
I cannot believe how you saw that from that camera angle. We'll take a look. Oh yeah, definitely some right side damage on there, or left side damage rather. But wow, look at this. The battle for the lead still raging here. Roberts and Silman side by side of the line. Looks like Silman, oh, I can't tell who keeps leading these races because they're so close, but...
It changes so fast. Oh,
look out, they're so close together off the exit of turn 1.
These guys are racing each other hard, almost like it's the last lap.
Off of turn 2. Silman dives to the bottom, tries to chase him down to the line, switches back over to the outside.
Yeah, again, there's no really explicit rule of passing below the white line, although I don't think it's something you want to try to do in these cars.
Often in turn 3, Silman's a little bit high, and again, as the tires begin to wear out, it's going to get harder and harder to maintain that line, but Silman's going to tuck back in for now. But I think we're going to see another move here on the front straightaway. Yes, we do.
Yeah, he's kind of just doing the same thing over and over, and Roberts hasn't been able to lead at the line. I think he actually was able to do it that time by.
And they're getting so close together out of turn 1. Almost contact there, Finian. This is getting close. And you got to be careful here, because you have to wonder, is it really worth it to be racing this hard? We talked about it before with Cohan and Larkamp. And Larkamp check is up to 14th right now, but maybe racing too hard. I mean, again, I think Cohan's mistake would have happened regardless, but this is very hard racing for lap 30, but 125 lap race.
Yeah, I think these guys, I mean, also you want to have fun too. At the end of the day, it is a sim. You're not driving a $200,000 race car and have to, you know, make money, put food on the table or whatnot as a driver. So you can kind of just go at it and have some fun. I think these guys just want to do that. They don't want to just ride around for 100 laps. You see Silman still trying to get around Roberts. So I think that also has something a little bit to do with it as well. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, these guys are making a hell of a race. And a hell of a show for the people watching at home.
Let's see how much the run here. You see Silman's in 5th gear. We'll go to 6th, use that extra little speed boost, head to the outside into turn 3. But again, it's so hard to make that move. He's going to try to tuck back to the bottom and get the run, but it's so hard to get the lead away, especially in the corners.
Yeah, you see Silman there. He's going to just see how much that draft helps. It's so
Backs
significant.
out of it
he had to back out of it. That's how strong it is. And he's just going to keep on Roberts' back bumper here. I think he's going to start maybe pacing himself a little bit more now as this run goes on.
Let's check back in. Don Runkle Jr. in the double zero is currently running 14th, but look who's up ahead of him. Steven Larkamp has charged back to 13th place in the number 14 car and making good headway from being back from 20th after being involved in an early incident with Nick Cohan.
Yeah, I think that damage to his rear side pod might hurt him just a bit, but all in all, it could have been a lot worse for him, and he's doing a fantastic job in 13, just trying to hang on behind Owen Morgan.
I'll take another look at Will Roberts. The 96 car started 30th, running 9th right now inside the top 10. So good start for the 96 of Will Roberts. Oh, tight off the corner, almost got into the wall. Some TV curse almost happened again.
It really is a curse. I see him jump to the outside of the 38 of Brian Greenlee. And Greenlee's been having a pretty solid, silent day running in the low top 10. So he's going to continue soldiering on. Roberts is going to try the best that he can to catch up to the front pack here, with Brandon Minto currently at the tail end of it.
A little bit of a gaggle going on back here for 15th. Is Derek Pemberton there, DJ Allen, John Wilco, John Martin, Gail Brooks also in this group. Battle for 15th, as I said. DJ Allen in that orange number 9. I think this is where you see a little wiggle there from the 9 through the middle of the corner. It's going to let John Wilco, actually, is that the 88? I believe it's the 88. Where does he come from? Oh, he must be a lap down, and he is. That's Tyler Dulger in the 88, 1 lap down. First car a lap down. Jack Daniels, IR18.
Yeah, so, not Evan, sorry. The 88 is going to hope for another caution, which I would say is more likely than not to come out sooner or later. But these guys are on a really nice green flag run here as they soldier on. You see Tim Silman still behind Roberts, and I think now is the time where you're kind of just following in, just riding along here. He did everything he could to try to pass him on the fresh tires. Now it's just a matter of sticking with him and not letting go.
Yeah, I think this is, once the tires start to wear off, the moves get harder to make, and I think the bravery goes away a little bit because you start to feel the car understeer, and you don't want to put yourself in a position like Nick Cohan did. So you saw that happen early in the race. You don't want to repeat that. So you're willing just to ride around in second for a little while, wait for the fuel to run out, come get tires and fuel, and start it all over again.
22 cars are on the lead lap still.
See, Will Roberts and Brian Greenlee still kind of engaged in their battle for 8th right now, but Roberts has gotten around the 38 car.
Yeah, still trying to catch up to Minto. He's 6/10 of a second behind Minto, which is pretty much within drafting distance. You have once you're within about a second of the car ahead of you, that's when you start really feeling the effects of the draft, and that'll start reeling you into the guy in front of you, as long as he doesn't have a draft helping him.
And right now we're looking at the battle for 17th. DJ Allen's got it. John Martin's the green and white car behind him. That's 18th there. And then Gail Brooks in the yellow 71. Phillip Clark, the blue and orange 25 at the tail of that group. And as you mentioned, it's been a nice green flag run. Everyone's kind of getting themselves spread out and just getting to tick off the laps. About 40 seconds at a time.
can see Gale Brooks now trying to look to the inside of John Martin in that 12 car right ahead of him.
Oh, see the 9 real high entering the corner, as is up in front of him. I believe that was Wilco that was up out of the groove in turn 2.
Yeah, so this group's again trying to catch the group ahead of him. And you kind of see that. You see a lot of ebb and flow with the groups. Guys group up in a pack, try to catch more into the pack. And you see, does Gale Brooks try to make it 3 wide here? Looks like he's going to be a little bit more patient here. Behind Martin, who's going to fall in line.
Martin got juked out to the right there, Finian, and looked like Allen kind of moved over on him just a little bit, and I don't think Martin was expecting that. Had to move to the outside to avoid contact there. Wasn't ever alongside him, but it was enough to spook him.
Yeah, definitely so, and Gale Brooks is going to soldier on in that DeWalt car. Ooh. Yeah, you see Martin dive all the way down through the grass trying to make a pass work on the 9, and DJ Allen ahead of him.
Lap 38 of 125 here out of turn 4 we come, and I see a purple car up here. That's Don Runkle Jr. and John Wilco. Actually, Wilco is back here battling. It's Kingsbury in the 20, and he's fallen off the pace quite a bit.
Yeah, significantly. I'm trying to figure out why. I don't know if he maybe just made a mistake at some point and was able to save it. Doesn't look like he has any damage.
Well, I will note one thing here, Finney. He's the only guy on one pit stop anywhere near himself. The next guy is Brian Grinley in 9th. So most people that he's running around have newer tires on than he does. So by about 5 or 6 laps. So that's enough to make a difference.
Yeah, definitely so.
And Larkamp check up to 12th now in the 14.
Yeah, slowly moving his way up. He's got now the 43 of Owen Morgan ahead of him in 11th.
And be careful with that line.
Well, Roberts is having a fight now for 7th place with Graham Minto. He's actually able just to get around.
So yeah, Roberts is moving his way forward, and again, he races also in the Fuel Rig Share Cup Series. Have not quite seen the pace out of him in the Cup Series side of things, but here he is now in Indy, putting on a pretty good show. He's gotten around Minto. He started all the way back in 30th, remember, so he's one of those guys that has pretty fresh tires and is making his way forward. And now the next group in front of him, all those cars, all the top 6, have older tires than he does. Only by a lap, though. So
yeah, but and it's going to be a little bit hard for Roberts to catch him because he's not going to have too much of a draft from the cars ahead of him. Although he is catching them with significant pace, so he's really reeling in that 17 of Cohen Evans. And I gotta wonder if Evans, if that rear wing is starting to hurt him now.
Yeah, you can see it's kind of kinked up on the left side there, and it really doesn't look like it's supposed to look like that.
No, and you know, you might be looking at that for those who really don't know much about the cars. That might not look too terribly bad, but trust me, I'm no aerodynamicist, but that's really gonna hurt the way the car handles.
Yeah, essentially what I would think would be happening there, Finian, is you got the left side up, so it's going to be producing more downforce on the left side, which can make the car really, really unstable, loose in the corners. If it was making more downforce on the right, you'd expect it to be tight in the corner. So not really ideal, especially when it's so easy to get on the apron here, hook the car around. It's not going to be a great situation. So basically, the general rule of thumb is the higher up in the air something is, the more downforce it'll create. Although at that angle, it's kind of... You also look at it down laterally from the nose cone here. You see how the wing on the left side of your screen is kind of behind the tire? On the right side of your screen, it's actually bent in so that it's out of the way of the tire, which could be affecting the airflow around the rear as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's been able to do pretty decent, all things considered. Could have been a lot worse off. He's still running in 6th place, which is, again, not shabby at all. But I don't think he's really able to do much with it the way the car is now. He's going to have to come down to the pits, and speaking of which, that's just going to happen to him, as Derek Pemberton seems to have crashed out of the race.
And here's a quick replay of it. The 81 Verizon-sponsored IR18 enters the corner, and
I could tell by his line. Yeah, I could tell by his line there. Entered in really high, and that was just not going to end well
and everyone does a great job to miss the 81 as he goes around. So let's take another look. And this is what's been catching out pretty much everyone. But let's watch his hands here, Finian. He doesn't have a whole lot of time to react. Listen to the throttle.
Yeah, he got off the throttle maybe a little bit less than a second late, but that's all it takes, really. You have to be so precise and quick with your inputs on this car. Again, can't stress it enough. You have to be very quick with this car. And if you're not, you're going to end up at the wall, and that's unfortunately taking Pemberton out of this race.
And it's not even, like, I'm sure he felt it before then, but you always, as a driver, you always think, I got this, I can save this. And then that little second guess you're not going to save it. You don't got it. You're going to crash.
Yeah. So, unfortunate for Pemberton, he's going to fall prey to the track as it's claimed another car.
And yes, another car added to the graveyard here, but I'm sure everyone's happy and ready for some tires and fuel. We're 27 laps into the stint. That's almost, I mean, that's a long way here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'm sure Evans is happy he can finally fix that rear wing to get him back up to snuff with the rest of these guys. Will take a little bit longer to repair that, so he's going to have to sit in the pits longer. Kind of what we saw with Larkham when he was getting damage fixed to his car.
And I can bet you Tim Stillman is going to be ready to go and slide into the stall as quick as he can, so he doesn't have to worry about passing Roberts on the racetrack, because it's a lot harder to do it out there than it is in here.
All right, as these guys come in, I noticed some cars actually stayed out on the track.
Let's take a look. And it looks like Matt Kingsbury is one of them. So is Jack Ritchie. But some of these cars are a lap down here, Finian. But Kingsbury is not.
Yeah, so interesting choice there.
And 28 laps on the tires. Potentially going to stay out. Lead lap, head back in.
I would imagine so. I think it would be a little bit foolish to see anything else. But as we cut back down a pit road, we're going to try to watch the race off pit road.
Let's see who wins it, and it looks like Roberts will get it. Actually, Stillman's going to lose a couple spots on pit lane, so not really the one that he wanted to.
See Larkham come out right where he is.
12, so no gain, no loss.
And there you actually just see, I think Cohen Evans' car just came around. He's going to be back in 18th trying to fix the damage to his car.
And it looks like it's fixed. The rear ring has been replaced.
So he's going to have some work to do, similar to what Larkham had to do, but Larkham's already up to 12th, and again, still quite a few laps left in this race to go.
So my curiosity now lies in the plan for the 28. I'm sure it's just a move to lead a lap, come in and take tires and fuel. I don't know that you would last even a corner on 28 lap old tires.
Yeah, that's really old as far as tires are concerned. So I think you're kind of a fool not to come in. Again, good strategy call in the bigger picture of things with the points championship going on. So he's currently in 6th place in the points championship. So he's gonna come down pit road. I would imagine you would be an utter lunatic to try to stay out there on old tires.
You just get swallowed alive on the restart. You wouldn't even make it to turn 1.
No, yeah, his handling would be so out of whack compared to everyone else because everyone else has brand new, fresh tires, and his are going to be old and noticeably off the pace.
So I expect to see him peel on in here, and it looks like he will. He's going to join that blend line.
Oh, is he not?
Not going to pit. Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Well,
can't quite say I agree with that.
Okay, well here's how it could work. You get out there, you survive for 5 laps or 10 laps. Caution comes out behind you. Everyone comes in, and you hopefully keep your track position. I just don't think you're going to survive that long.
Yeah, that, and also the fact you're kind of banking on a caution coming out within 5 to 10 laps. And I mean, that last run we had lasted quite a while. So
the other thing he could be doing here, Finney, and this is a less likely scenario, is that he's looking at the laps we got left and mathematically breaking it down and is going to not pay attention to the yellows and just go on his own calculations for fuel and just kind of play this like a road course race. That could work. You just have to make sure you're not a roadblock for anybody else.
Yeah, we just actually saw his iRating, which is about 4,700.
4,500. Yeah.
4,500.
It's high. It's the highest.
Yeah, so he definitely knows what he's doing with an iRating like that. So you know what? All right,
we'll see. The doubt.
Yeah, we will. So we'll see how this pays off. And he's the only car on this strategy now, compared to everyone else. So again, my short-term prediction is that he's going to get swallowed whole on this restart by the first few cars, and we're going to kind of see where he falls in line, see if he's able to kind of manage his pace, or if he's going to just drop like a rock completely to the back.
Or the other thing is that we're stupid, and he wasn't sure that his pit stalls before the start finish line, and staying out 1 extra lap. Then we'll come to pit road, take tires and fuel, and then go. That would be probably a better idea. And maybe staying in the back is the way to keep yourself out of trouble. But we've seen a lot of green flag running here, Finian, and you don't want to put yourself. Track position starts to become important as we work our way towards lap 75 and 100.
Yeah, so we'll see now coming out of Ford. Does he come in? If he does, that completely put the entire thing we're just talking about for the last few minutes out of place. And no. So yep. So he definitely has. This is a strategy call here.
I like it. If his plan isn't to stay up front, if he's gonna see some people towards the rear, they're pitting. If he plans to kind of move out of the way, let people on by, and kind of run his own race, that's one thing. If you're going to be out there trying to prevent the duking and diving from a charging Danny Roberts, you're probably going to find yourself on your roll bar pretty quick.
Yeah, so again, he does have an advantage here being the leader, so he'll be able to at least jump the start, try to separate these guys as much as possible before they get up and draft to him. So again, we have to just kind of watch and see what he's got up his sleeve here.
See him cleaning off those tires. They're going to want to do that for sure. There's going to be lots of marbles built out there. Remember, really just a single line racetrack, so the marbles will be very, very much a factor as we head into the late stages of this race. Kingsbury out front in the number 28, Danny Roberts second, Ray Kingsbury third in the 52, Mitchell Welker in fourth, having a good run. Tim Silman slips to fifth under this sequence as Zach Buchanan holds on to that sixth spot. These guys seem to always find each other on the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely so, and I don't think that's really going to change too much. These guys are pretty much the entire top six pretty much has been the same for most of this race. They've all been in the top 10. I don't think they've really dropped out of that at all, so I think they're going to be really the class of the field when it comes down to who's going to be our winner. I think it will be someone out of that top six. And
Larkamp's hunt to get back to the front is about halfway complete, but the cars get harder to pass as they get closer to the front, so we'll keep an eye on that number 14. He's 12th right now, and again, single file restart, so he'll have to make a little bit of a work out of it as he heads his way forward. You see Kingsbury all the way up against that wall. I don't know, Finian. It looks like he's being pretty defensive about that position. And Danny Roberts doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has to. So we'll see him. I imagine he's probably going to floor it as soon as the pace car dives in. And watching his speed now. Yeah, and there he goes.
He fires off. But I think by the exit of turn 2, I think that spot will be given up.
Well, we'll see here. He crosses the line. Green flag's in the air. And again, yeah, he's got a little bit of a lead, but that's going to change very, very quickly as Roberts is going to try to catch up to him.
Let's ride on board with the 52 of Kingsbury here.
You can see the closing rate is just unbelievable.
Oh, into the wall, crashing around, and they're going to be, that's it. That's over. And we mentioned it under yellow, Finian, and that's the one thing you can't do. I mean, that's just race over. That was a judgment lapse there by Matt Kingsbury. I can't...
Yeah, and Danny Roberts, too, is involved as well.
Roberts was the victim of that there, and I'm sure he's got to be incredibly frustrated with that. We mentioned it, Finian. You can't... On those tires, you can't be defending like... Oh, it looks like Larkamp was involved, too. So many good cars taken out. Let's watch from above. And this was a block here, I believe. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Came across the racetrack and into the wall, and others behind him involved as well. You see some cars. Larkamp's involved, and that's John Martin in there as well. And yeah, so 2 of the best cars of this race taken out by that. That was a bad move by the 28 there, Finian.
Yeah, I think he just thought that he would have had that, but again, bad judgment call. And that's he's gonna have to pay the price for that.
And frustrating for Larkamp because he was on his way through, and wow, violent wreck there for the number 14. But there was not a whole lot about that move that was good. And again, it wasn't even a matter of 2 guys running into each other. That was a block there. So questionable even from a race control standpoint. Let's watch it again from above. You'll see what I mean here. The move to the bottom is legal. That's the move that everyone expects. But the move back to the right, that's a block there, and that's an illegal move here in the Fuel Series.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, the general rule of thumb for any racing series, regardless of what it is you can move once, but you can't make a second move. And
that was the second move.
Yeah, and then too, Roberts was on his outside by then, and I want to say that's just, you know, bad judgment of just the closing rate. I think he miscalculated, and again, gonna pay the price for that. And so is unfortunately Larkamp and Roberts as well, unfortunate victims to that, and John Martin as well.
Yeah, so Roberts and Larkamp, 2 of the quickest drivers, and both these guys are doing extremely well in the series points as well. So a frustrating evening for them because they were, you know, doing pretty good.
Yeah, Roberts and Larkamp, they're running. Roberts is leading the points, reminder, and then Silman is tied for 3rd, so that's going to really hurt them in this round.
Larkamp?
Yeah.
Said Silman.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry. Stephen Larkamp's going to hurt from that. Yeah, he's tied for 3rd. So
frustration. I'm sure there'll be some words had about that too as well. I mean, again, what we were talking about the strategy, Finian. I'm fine with pulling that move as a fuel-saving measure and getting out of the way, letting people race their race. But we saw right out of turn 2 going for the inside. Legal move, everyone does that. The second move to the right is what did in the number 30 and the number 14, as well as the 28 in Matt Kingsbury. So end of the night for a lot of good race cars. And John Martin, frustrating too. He was having a good run in that number 12.
Yeah, so after all of that happened, you're going to sort the field back out again. It's going to be Ray Kingsbury. He's going to lead this race. Mitchell Welker in second, Tim Silliman in third, Zach Buchanan fourth, and Will Roberts is going to find himself in the top 5 in fifth.
So one man's disaster is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
Saved race. I don't know, but Tim Silliman looking pretty good right now. Very impressive earlier in the run. So we saw Mitchell Welker be mentioned in the pre-race notes there in that 76 car winner. And I expect him to be pretty good here tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that 76. I think he and the 39 are probably the cars to beat at this point. I think a lot of the dominant cars are gone.
Yeah, I honestly, if everyone placed bets on this race, I would imagine they would have probably bet on Danny Roberts and Larkham, and both were taken out in pretty much one swoop. So yeah, it kind of is in the air a little bit now of who has a shot at winning. And I would say definitely between Silman and Welker, they both have a solid shot. But Kingsbury's been well. Buchanan and Roberts have been up there. Roberts has charged his way up. Again, started 30th, Will Roberts, all the way up to 5th. So he's moved through the entire field to get up to where he is. So I expect he might be hiding something in there. And now since he has a track position, should be able to do something with it.
We are beginning to close in on the halfway point of this race. And again, we've been slowed by 3 or 4 yellows at this point. We've had a couple good long green flag runs. And I believe now that we'll start to get more of that. So the question becomes... will we ever get past a 28 lap green flag run? Because that's kind of uncharted territory for these guys, especially in the draft. They have not practiced with this many cars around them, or at least not recently.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we talked about the aero push here. Very, very strong and affects these cars a lot. But what some guys may not know is how that affects them on older tires as well. And these cars, if you think they push on fresh tires, they push like hell on older tires. Coming from experience just at other tracks in general with these cars, after a while, late in a run, you will find yourself getting very, very close to the wall, if not in the wall, later in a run. So you got to watch out for that.
Let's take another look real quick at our track guide while we have a moment here, Finney. I just want to go back and look at this again. Because earlier, prior to the broadcast, we were talking about the different lines that the lines that you have to take around here. It's not a multi-groove racetrack. But as we go back down, we've been talking about turn 1 being the trouble spot today. And it seems like that's really been what's catching people out. I don't know. It seems like these corners are fairly identical, but for some reason, people are trusting themselves far too deep into turn 1 and second-guessing themselves. You can see here in the practice lap that you did, missed the apex just by a little bit, but at least the rubber was there to save you. But especially on older tires, it gets harder and harder. Right there, that's where Nick Cohan lost it earlier in the race, got below the white line. Back straightaway, trouble spot again. It's wide, we want to block, but as we saw with the 28 and the number 30, you can't do it. You'll get yourself in trouble. I even joked about him being on a roll bar, and 2 laps later he was. Turn 3, we've seen this not be such a trouble spot so far tonight. I don't think we've seen anyone wreck out of turn 4 yet either. But of course, Indianapolis, a very big racetrack, and again, the understeer getting on the curb will end your night with a wrecked race car. So you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do a J.R. Hildebrand. That's how he lost the Indy 500 meters from the line. That exact same race. That's how Dan Weldon won. So
2011, I believe.
Yeah, unfortunately before he passed away.
Yeah. So, but again, at the end of the day, you want to be in front of this pagoda with the milk and the bricks, but you can't do what just happened.
No. Yeah.
Got to keep yourself in the game.
Yeah. So, and these guys have so far, but again, still a long way to go now. We have 75, less than 75 laps now to go in this race.
75 exactly.
Oh yeah.
Nice math.
Yeah.
But as we head down the back straightaway now, Ray Kingsbury's got that lead, and Mitchell Welker is going to be right there tucked underneath them. And if I check my notes, I believe Welker won... I think it was ISM race... Nope, that was Tim Silliman. It was Sebring that Mitchell Welker won. And I know from talking to Welker that he's definitely more of a road side of the Indy side of things.
Yeah, yeah, and to back that up, yeah, one Sebring finished second at Laguna Seca, so
kind of a road guy.
Yeah.
And today, putting on a good performance here, at Indianapolis. And again, we've got 75 laps to go. 74 when we take the green. So Mitchell Welker, one of the guys you have to watch as he's going to try to get around Ray Kingsbury. Pace car is going to pull off. We're going to turn him back green. 74 laps to go here at Indianapolis for the Fuel IndyCar Series. And Kingsbury drags him down to the bottom of the racetrack. Interesting line.
Yeah, and green flag's back in the air. Yeah, you usually don't see that kind of maneuver coming to take the green flag. But here they go, launching on the way. Everyone nice and separated, single file.
Yeah, very single file. This is a very stretched out restart, actually. The last couple have been a little bit nutty, especially towards the rear of the field. But we're down to really 20 cars on the racetrack here, Finian. And we got a battle for the lead now brewing, and it's Kingsbury and Welker side by side. Welker is going to clear him off into turn 3. Here comes Silliman to the inside. Taking a nose into the wall goes the 52. A horrible collision with the outside retaining wall. Underneath goes Brandon Minto, I believe. Or maybe it was Greenlee in the 38. And caution is out of here on lap 52. And that is race over for Ray Kingsbury. So that's the second caution in a row. Our leader is wrecked.
Unfortunately, both of the Kingsburys have been out of the race now in 2 consecutive wrecks. So we'll see what happened here.
Riding on board, Tim Silliman.
So Silliman stuck his nose in there.
Okay, this is more of a case of the outside car not really yielding enough room. I do believe that Silliman was established on the inside here.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But I think again, it's again slight, the slightest misjudgment. I think Kingsbury realized he was there, but with everything that was going on around him, I think it just went a little bit too much in on Silliman. And I think he was also probably worried about taking the corner too wide and hitting the wall.
Oh, for sure. I think that's why Kingsbury pinched down the 39, maybe expecting him to back out, but you can't expect him. The car's there, and we see a wild ride for that 52 car. Let's maybe get a look from above. Again, classic case of maybe expecting an inside car to back out and just not happening. But you see the 39 car's got the run. You know, put the nose in there and does. And he's below the white line. Can't expect him to take any more racetrack than that.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, benefit to the doubt with Kingsbury. You know, it'll happen within a split second that someone just appeared there, and I think may have caught him off guard. He didn't realize it until it was too late.
Riding on board now at the 38 of Brian Greenlee. I think he had a pretty exceptional view of this. Up ahead, you see the smoke right here, and look out! Woo! Underneath him, took a little bit of grass, but does a great job avoiding that. See the car tumbling off in the distance behind him. So leader to wrecker twice in a row. And so, honestly, we were talking about the back being a scary place to be. Right now, it's the front. So I think Mitchell Welker is the next one to go.
Hopefully not, for his sake.
Through turns 1 and 2 again for the 54th time. And really, the field started to thin out now. We're going to have 17 on the lead lap. That's almost half of what we started with. And really only effectively 19 that are actually running. Ray Kingsbury is 19th, but David Leclerc is 20th, but rolling, Ray Kingsbury will not get back out on the racetrack after that crash.
Yeah, so a lot of strong cars now out with Danny Roberts, Stephen Larkamp, and Matt Kingsbury all out of contention now.
I think all of the strong cars are out. I mean, really, the only one that's up here that I remember being close to the front was Tim Silliman.
Yeah. So
Silliman started 6th. So if you look back at our top 5 starters, I don't remember the order that they were in, but I believe it was Matt Kingsbury, Larkamp, Danny Roberts, Nick Cohan, and I believe you got to throw in. Did I miss anybody?
I think probably the other car might have been is still running. I don't know who it would have been. Maybe Walker, Buchanan, probably.
Possibly. But Buchanan started in 10th, so that can't be
yeah.
it. But yeah, generally, most of the top 5 out, which is an interesting scenario here because all the strong cars that we really thought were going to win this race are totaled, and a lot of them have been, you know, cars not giving each other enough room. I wouldn't really classify the crashes that have taken out the leaders the last couple times. I wouldn't necessarily classify as racing incidents, more of judgment issues and guys expecting other people to do other things. Racing incidents generally you can't really place fault. I think the last 2 you probably could. It doesn't matter now. Those cars are wrecked out of the race. But interesting to see. Is Silliman's nose damaged? It doesn't really look like it. I think it was wheel-to-wheel contact.
Yeah, no, if anything, he just bounced off. Probably, yeah, I would say either the wheel or just the side of wing, maybe some Neko was able to let him escape from any sort of damage.
So Silman will hang on to that second spot. Make our way over through turns 1 and 2 again. So you know who's having a good day that we haven't talked about in a little while? Eben Adams. He was way back after being caught with some damage after hitting the wall out of turn 1. Came down pit road, fixed it, was a lap down, got his lap back. Here he is, 11th. And we still got a long race left, and he's looking pretty good. And the rate that leaders are dropping out, he'll be leading in no time.
Yeah, I mean, he still has some of that damage to his side pod, but I mean, all things considered, could be very much worse off. So, you know, you can't ask for more with that damage. Being a lap down, finding yourself now on the outside of the top 10. Yeah, I mean, he's got a good day looking ahead of him, so if he can just keep on the track and keep it going straight, he should be fine off. And even Cohen Evans, too, ahead in 9th, he had to pit, lost quite a few positions. About 2 cautions ago, that was when he fixed his car. So he's back up into 9th place now.
And thank God for interchangeable parts. I mean, that's really been saving these guys today. But I want to go back to Eben Adams after all that. Started 11th, running 11th. So he's right back to where he started. It's just a little bit short of a race now. 70 to go when we take the line this time through. Phillip Clark again in the 25 car. This was really his strategy the other night in the Fuel Cup Series race.
Finished also in 12th.
Yep, and let's take a look. Where did Phillip start? Back in 23rd. So maybe his strategy is just to start in the rear, avoid the carnage, and finish well, because it's working out for him. At least it did on Tuesday, and so far it's been a good night for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, in these long races, it tends to happen. The field gets weeded out more and more as time goes on, so that's his strategy of just trying to stay out of the trouble and just slowly move your way up. So, yeah, you know, again, worked on Tuesday, and so far it's working out tonight.
And we were talking earlier about maybe potentially driving a little too hard up towards the front, and I think that's really kind of been the case today, Finian. We haven't really seen anybody dominate this race just because they haven't been up there long enough to do it, as they got involved in wrecks, whether it was their doing or not. So I think there was that one run, that 30-lap run, where the 30 of Danny Roberts was out front. That was when he and Silliman kind of calmed down and kind of raced their race, and that was the cleanest run we had. Since then, the wrecks have been towards the front of the field with guys racing it a little bit hard. So maybe bring it down a notch, tick off some laps, and fight towards the end.
Yeah, definitely so. And again, I think we are still due for a green flag run. Again, that misjudgment between Kingsbury and Silman that took Kingsbury out of contention. So now I'd imagine these guys, considering how few cars as well that we have left running, we're going to probably see a nice green flag run to the end. And that's going to probably bring along a green flag pit stop at some point if they do continue running to the end. So that's kind of, again, uncharted territory for these guys tonight. So we'll see how they deal with that.
Well, we just got the 1 to green there, Finian, and as we come around the corner here, we're heading onto the front straight, and that's going to put Mitchell Welker in the 76 on the point, and hopefully he'll last longer than the last couple of guys that took the lead. And Pace car is going to pull off, and he'll hand over control to Welker in that 76. And he's still maintaining 75 miles an hour, but takes off pretty early there, and we'll get a pretty good jump on the rest of the field. Look behind him. That's a Cordes car jumping out of line.
Yeah, someone didn't get going there, it seems. But yeah, that's going to be the 9 of that? No.
Maybe the 43 of Owen Morgan. That's who it is.
He was trying to get around the car ahead of him, but meanwhile, back up front here, we see Silman trying to get around Mitchell Welker in the lead, and you see Buchanan now behind with a huge draft.
And it looks like Silman's been struggling to get around on the outside, but there completes the pass, pulls in and around, and Silman takes the lead here. I believe, if he hasn't gotten the lead officially yet, he flirted with it a couple times with Roberts, but he'll definitely lead this lap. Zach Buchanan takes over second from Welker as we got a big battle going on.
Oh, we got a wreck! Yeah.
Couple cars over, barrel rolling. Stephen Herring, we haven't talked about him at all tonight, but unfortunately, that's all it took. Eben Adams is another one of the cars involved. Heavy wing damage to that machine. Looks like Brooks makes it through. Don Runkle Jr. is another car involved. Heavy damage to that car.
Yeah, another group of strong runners who are running just around the top 10.
At the rate we're going, we're not going to have any cars left. But there's Don Runkle Jr. in the 00, and oh, that started in front of him.
It looks like Evans was going slow, and then some cars tried to move out of the way to pass him. Yeah, he was going significantly slower. I wonder what happened to him here. He went high, and I would imagine he hit the wall.
Oh, he got checked into the wall by another car, the yellow car back there, and was slow. And that's you're right. And he caused a stack up there.
Let's also get a second onboard from Gail Brooks, who seemed to just narrowly avoid that. So there you see ahead, you see the initial incident with Eben Adams getting into the wall. And everyone back here, and cars spinning all over the place.
I think Brooks is tired of being involved in
I know, I was going to say, I was so happy to actually see him drive out of that wreck, because usually he gets caught up in incidents like this.
What we have to find out is who that car was that initially made contact with Eben Adams. I've seen that yellow car a couple times, and I don't know who it is.
We passed him. He's on the inside right now. No clue, honestly.
John Wilco in the 62 is who that is. So let's get maybe an onboard from him and see exactly what led up to this.
Okay, so we see him, typical big draft down the back straightaway. Looks to the inside here. You can already see Eben giving him the room.
Gives him plenty of room. Oh, he slips.
Yeah, slipped in the corner. And then, tried everything he could to keep it off of Adams, but again, just found him on the track.
I give him a lot of credit for steering that thing left, but up ahead is where all the carnage happened. And Steve Herring, wow, look at that onboard camera. Woof. Yeah, we'll get an onboard from Stephen Herring here to see what... He was the initial car that came up behind Adams. And again, you can't expect that speed differential. Nothing that the 13 could have done. Again, if he tries to go wide to avoid it, he hits the wall. Yeah,
because he wasn't sure where Adams was going to go, and he slowed up, tried to get out of the way just at the last second, but then Don Rolkel Jr. also jumped to the outside as well, and they made contact on a huge...
Just a big stack up there from that initial incident. So lots of cars torn up in that one, and our field size is rapidly shrinking, and we have some changes in strategy up front here, Finian. Kenneth McCoy in the 68 takes the lead. Cohen Evans, Tim Silliman in the top 3. But we go down our ticker here. There is 14 cars on the lead lap. One of those is Wilco, who's very badly damaged. So the field size is dwindling here. Lots of multi-car incidents tearing up the field.
Yeah, I mean, can we just say, too, Phillip Clark is now in the top 10.
Well, this guy has a plan, and it is working very well. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, the 40 of Zach Buchanan. He definitely has something up his sleeve. But nice to see Phillip Clark running well. But going back to the 40 of Buchanan, just been quiet all night. And, I gotta say, he's definitely planning something up his sleeve.
Lap 59 of 125 here, so we still have a ways to go. But again, the progress tonight has been slowed by several cautions. He had one real good long 30-lap run, and then that was the last time 30 of Danny Roberts got to see the light of day as he was taken out with a block from, I believe it was one of the brothers, Matt Kingsbury in the 28 car, came across his nose and took out him, and then that same wreck took out fellow competitor Stephen Larkamp, who was also a threat to win today. So the order is very mixed up front. And I think we're going to take a break real quick just to get a drink of water. We'll come back in just a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sim TV and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we're looking at the beautiful facility here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Down the back straightaway, the field heads right now on lap 61 of 125. It's been a little bit of a bloodbath here today. A lot of understeering issues. We have had some blocking and some other incidents that have caused some multi-car incidents, but it's shaken up the field quite a bit. We have 14 cars on the lead lap. We're heading down the back straightaway, getting ready to turn them loose once again. Kenneth McCoy in the 68 up front, and started all the way back in... Oh, he was our top 5 starter.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so he really dropped back quite a bit. He was hanging around about 10th place.
Eben Adams started 14th. Tim Silliman started 6th. Buchanan in 10th, and Will Roberts 30th to 5th.
Yeah, notably, Kenneth McCoy and Cohen Evans have stayed out on old tires, or 16-lap old tires. About 15-lap difference from the guys behind them who just came in on that last pit cycle. So they're going to be on older tires, and we're going to see it.
We've seen that story before.
I mean, it shouldn't be as bad, I don't think, with 16-lap. It'll be kind of bad, but, you know, we'll have to see as the pace car is going to dive in.
Pace car pulls off. Kenneth McCoy in the 68 is going to fire right off. He's not going to waste any time. He's got the blue 17 of Cohen Evans behind him, and the green flag's back in the air. And I don't know, my ticker's turning off. I shouldn't be doing that. But we're off, and again, we're racing here again, and down into turn 1 we go. Look at second and third are close together already.
Yeah, someone kind of wants to get around Evans as fast as possible. You're going to probably have to wait for the back straightaway to make a move happen, though.
We'll probably easily use the run here. Gets a little bit tight off the corner, but we'll use that slipstream, see how strong it is. And it looks like the 17's not going to defend, and here comes Silliman to the inside. Got to watch the arrow push here from that lead car.
It looks like Silliman's going to get almost boxed in there in 3. He's going to have an open line now to try to take the lead away from Kenneth McCoy.
Watch out for Zach Buchanan, that brown car in the fourth car back in the line there. And he's going to drop to the inside with the other 3 cars, and around to the inside goes that group around Kenneth McCoy in the 68.
Yeah, here comes Evans now to the inside. He's going to take second place, or maintain second place now.
Silliman back to the lead now on the back straightaway. Oh, got one in the wall there. Was that Will Roberts that pounded it there? No, I think it was Welker, actually, Finian.
I don't know. I'll have to see. Maybe?
Or maybe it was the 38 of Brian Greenlee. I see he's limping a little bit.
Kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. But either way, it wasn't significant. We'll head back up to the front as Cohen Evans trying to hang on to the 39 of Silliman.
He's actually doing a fantastic job. Here he goes trying to look to the inside of Silliman. Silliman's going to give him the space as they head into 1, so great job by Evans.
Battle for third. Kenneth McCoy's got it. Buchanan wants it, but he's got Welker and Will Roberts tucked up right underneath his rear wing, and Welker's got to be careful because Roberts is right there.
Yeah, you know, all these guys are now darting all over the place trying to pass one another, and I think they definitely want to get ahead of the 68 because they know he's on older tires.
Hey, Cohen Evans doing a fantastic job on 20-lap old tires to take the lead back away from Silliman. Silliman was struggling to get around Roberts on the outside on fresh tires, equal to those of the leader, but this time it's been a little bit harder for Silliman to hold on to that lead for some reason. But down the straightaway now, look at Buchanan holding off Mitchell Welker. That's Will Roberts there as well.
Yeah, still trying to get around McCoy. He's going to barely be able to do so. You can see they're all grouping up trying to get around him.
Down the back straightaway again. And kind of the field scattering from third on back. See if I'm looking from high above here. It's a little bit chaotic heading into the corner. And on fresh tires, you can do this, but remember, McCoy does not have fresh tires, and he's got to be careful with that understeer. Yeah,
doing a nice job of managing that at the moment. He's just kind of falling in line where he can, trying to stick with these guys the best that he can. But I got to say, great job by Evans. 20-lap-year-old tire. 20-year lap?
20.
Sorry, 20.
That's a long time to have tires on. 20 years, Jesus.
20-lap old, over 20 laps old on his tires, and he's holding the lead like it's nothing from Silliman.
Making very good work of that top spot right now. The field's kind of spread itself out just a little bit, so I anticipate a longer green flag run as long as these guys behave up here as Tim Silliman jumps to the outside lane into turn 3. That's a hard lane to hold, but with the fresh tires, he might be able to do it.
Evans has some great car control right now.
And powers back around Silliman. What a move.
I mean, honestly, looking at his tires, you wouldn't even think that. Looking at the way he's driving, you wouldn't think he would have older tires than Silliman.
But where does he hit the wall with the grip, Finian? It's got to be a couple laps from now.
Yeah, I would imagine so, but you know, we'll have to see how he's able to manage that, or maybe he's just looked after those tires better than McCoy, and that's why there's such a disparity in their difference on the track.
Another thing we should mention, the last 20 laps really haven't been all that green, so probably not a whole lot of actual heat cycle in those tires, which will help them last a lot longer. Probably the last 15 or so laps are mostly yellow, so that really helps that number 17 car.
Yeah, that's probably why he decided to stay out, knowing that he didn't have too much really too many green flag runs with that. That being said, now he probably would be approaching a cliff of some sort within 10-15 laps, maybe even earlier.
But will Silliman's be any better at that point?
I think they will be, but you know, again, by how much is kind of in the air.
You see Welker get a little bit tight off the corner. Here's the second group of cars. I believe that is Gale Brooks in the 71. Thank God that he missed that wreck earlier. He's had some trash luck in recent weeks getting involved in other people's messes. Oh, we got a battle for the lead. Wow. Silliman jumps to the outside, an aggressive move around there, but that outside lane, hard to hold.
Again, he has the fresher tires to work with. And that's how he's really able to hold that outside line, but he's just really struggling to get the run out of the outside.
There he goes. The inside, he'll have the run now.
But will it be enough is really the big question here as they head into turn 1.
I don't think Evans can hold that on the outside, and he doesn't. But remember, Evans actually took the lead back away from Silliman here, so I don't expect Evans to slip away. I think he'll definitely put up a fight, but look who's coming. That's Buchanan in the number 40 behind him.
Yeah, he's been quiet all race long, and now looks like he's going to want to make some noise. You see Evans, though, jump to the outside. And he actually doesn't decide to pass. He actually let off, I think, a bit off of Silliman.
Oh, that was close to the wall. He's going to have a heck of a run down the front straight here. Buchanan's not really a threat. To the outside he goes.
Wow, neck and neck at the line.
Off into turn 1, Silliman holds the lead.
But here comes Buchanan now. He's charging, and he looks hungry to try to take away second place from Cohen Evans.
Down the back straightaway. Oh, look to the inside. I thought he was going to go for it there. There's only about a half a lane, but hey, to dip the left side tires in the grass and go for it. Why not, right? Passing the grass IndyCar style. Thinks better of it. Tucks back in behind the wing of the 39, and we'll try again. Look how tight he is to the wing. That's a very dangerous spot to be aerodynamically.
Yeah, and again, you got to watch yourself, especially because you have to remember that there is a wing in front of your car, and you really can't see the end of it, so you kind of have to guess where it is and make sure you keep that clean and don't get that damage, because that could significantly hurt how fast you're going. And
that
wow,
was so close.
Yeah, Silliman barely fit into the gap ahead of him.
And trying harder now. You can see the effort level kind of coming up in the 17's cockpit. Kind of whips it to the outside lane here, heading off into turn 3. He's got the nose ahead. Dangerous line, though. He's going to be tight. Oh, that was so close, but he makes the pass. What a strong move around the outside. Cohen Evans to the lead.
Yeah, again, you can't stress enough how amazing of a job he's able to do to put that car into the lead with older tires on. It's just an impressive feat, and honestly, he might be the sleeper here that we're seeing tonight.
I agree. I mean, strong move around the outside. 20-lap older tires just did that like it was nothing. We'll give him some major credit, and actually starting to stretch it out from Tim Silliman. You see Tim get a little bit tight off the corner. Check back in with Will Roberts in 6th. Haven't talked a ton about him tonight, even though he's come up the farthest of anybody in the field.
Yeah, he jumped. He was 5th place at one point. I think he restarted about 7th place, and now he's up to 6th, trying to get around Kenneth McCoy. But yeah, again, like you said, charge up from 30th all the way to now just outside the top 5.
And I got to say another prop to Kenneth McCoy in the 68 as well, heading on into tires that are pretty old, making those work as well. So I guess this time through, I think the big difference is that there are really yellow flag laps on those tires that are making the difference. We did not see it work out so well for Matt Kingsbury earlier in the race.
So now what I wonder, though, is these two guys that are out on the roller tires, and that means, you know, when they pit there, they took their fuel earlier on in the car, so you gotta wonder what's their fuel situation looking like to guys who just came in recently.
That's true. I would
say they're at least used 7 to 8, definitely more in difference compared to the guys behind them that just came in on fuel. So that's about the fuel difference, I'm guessing.
Well, another thing that might be helping these guys that are out on older tires, Finian, is also out there on older fuel, and when the fuel burns off, it changes the balance of the car. And I'm not familiar enough with the IndyCar to know how that balance changes, but I know that it handles differently when it's light on fuel versus when it's loaded with fuel. So That might be a significant handling characteristic here that is affecting the 17 and the 68, and might be a reason why they're hanging on better than some that tried that strategy earlier. Well, everyone's out, pretty stretched out now. It's just kind of comfortably running laps right now. So Cohen Evans leading, Tim Silliman second, Zach Buchanan hang out in third, and what a move for this Cordis Autosport car, looking pretty good.
Yeah, now these guys are pretty much now just going to run down the laps. Again, I would imagine we have at least one more pit stop ahead of us, whether it be under green or caution, or when it does come out to. So it's going to be a matter of when that happens, and it looks like Evans has now established himself as the leader, and there's not really any question of will he fall back right now, because he's maintaining almost a half a second lead over Tim Silliman.
We'll be 50 laps to go when we get to the line here, Finian, so we start to count down, and I think that's where the drivers in their head are saying, what fuel numbers can we make? How far can we go? What kind of tire strategy do we want to be on? Can we expect yellows anymore, Finian? Because it's starting to look like the field has kind of weeded out the wrecks at this point.
Yeah, I mean, well, as long as technically, as long as there's cars running on the track, we're gonna probably see a caution, or there's a chance that we could see a caution,
especially later in the run.
Yes, but considering how few cars there are out there, I think it's very unlikely at this point, in particular. Again, only 14 cars on the lead lap, so and right now they're in a place where they're so spread out that even if they hit the wall, they have a chance to recover it, put it down an access road, and then come into the pits or retire safely off the racing surface to not bring out a caution. So I think that's the kind of situation we're looking at. I would say you got a 70-80% chance of it going green all the way to the end. Probably even higher than that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Finney. And I think the other thing, though, is, as we mentioned, as you go longer in the run, the cars get harder to handle, and that's when you start seeing mistakes get made. So I don't think it's out of the question that we see another caution. I just think the likeliness is severely reduced from where we were about 25-30 laps ago. So half a second lead for that 17 car, and nicely, the package is working out very nicely here, that the downforce gives you the opportunity to make moves, but also lets the drivers kind of handle themselves once the tire goodness wears off, and really kind of puts conserving your energy and your tire management at really kind of a high importance level, which I like for these longer races. See the 38 get a little bit sideways off the corner. Let's go take a look at that real quick. Keep your eye on this 38 car as he works his way through the final corner. Just watch him corner exit, the little wiggle right there. Doesn't look like a whole lot.
No, yeah, again, it depends on the angle you're really turning in and the angle you're holding throughout the entire corner, the back end, but just kind of come around a little bit. And again, doesn't look that bad, but I can imagine the feeling and the steering definitely changed for him, and that's why he did a little kind of kickback with the wheel to try to straighten out. Very subtle, but that's the kind of movements you need in this car.
Now, let's ride on board now with Cohen Evans leading, and just watch his hand movements here. Watch how smooth he is. Very little movements. What we saw at Greenlee there was a quick snap back to the right. Not past the center point, but just he unloaded the steering very quickly, and that's kind of indicative of a little bit of oversteer on corner exit. So again, you watch the smooth input here by Cohen Evans, really taking care of those tires. Not a whole lot of sharp movements, just very steady, smooth input. Oh, he slips!
Evans slipped and he saves it though, but here comes Silliman with a charge.
Well, I guess this is why the SimTV curse is still strong. And Tim Silliman will drive around the outside and take the lead away, but that was almost disaster for Cohen Evans. Let's go back and take a look.
That was a very perfect time to cut to an onboard.
Yeah, I mean, hey. I'm pretty good at my job, but I didn't think it was that good. But we almost jinxed it. We were talking about his hand movements, and you saw how little he was moving it, but it's just he caught the inside here just a little bit. You'll see it right there, drift mode there for a second.
Pretty much exactly what happened to Nick Cohen.
Pretty much exactly, same spot. And right there, mid-corner, you see his hands moving in the car and saves it and carries on to see another day, but they slip back behind Silliman. Now, does he have the energy and tires to go back around him?
I think at this point it's more of just his willpower, and I think he's definitely got it as he's now caught up all the way to the back bumper for Silliman.
Willpower. I get your joke.
That was not supposed to happen, but sure. Shout out to willpower. Right. But I was gonna say the SimTV curse though.
Yeah, we really gotta stop talking about.
I will say at least he didn't end up in the wall like most people do.
Don't say that. He's not done yet.
Well, for now he's trying to look to the inside of Tim Silliman, but Buchanan now is caught up, and now it's a three-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, Buchanan really brought Buchanan right back into the mix. They kind of separated out about a half a second apart from each other, and now they're thrust right back into the heat of battle. I think Evans is still quicker.
Yeah, but now I think he really benefited from being ahead of everybody and not really having to worry about fighting for the lead.
Someone's really off the pace there.
I wonder if he actually just, I think it was just Evans getting around him and he decided to back out, maybe falling behind Buchanan.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe a fuel-saving strategy as well.
Fuel, maybe even tire issue, just trying to sit behind these guys, because Mitchell Welker behind them is a little bit too far to really do anything at the moment. He's close, but not enough to really make a move, so he might just be waiting for Buchanan and Evans to sort their battle out.
Well, Buchanan wants the lead, so he's going to go take it away from Evans, and there he goes through turn 1 and completes that pass.
So let me see what Tim Sullivan is going to do. Is he going to just sit around and wait for this, or is he going to try to make a pass happen? That's kind of the question mark.
I don't think he's got the pace to do it. I mean, I think he's been struggling later in the race, later in the runs, to make these moves work.
So Buchanan going defensive on the bottom, comes back up in front of Evans. He's going to secure that lead pretty well, and again, I don't think Evans can really answer for that at the moment. He was pretty much surviving by the fact he's in the lead and not really anyone could get around him, but now that he's in dirty air, and he actually pulls off to the pits now.
So there goes Evans down to the pit lane, and 82 of 125, and is that enough?
I honestly wish I could answer that question. I think so. It seems like a decent amount of time he can go.
Well, okay, they had a 15 lap older tires in this other group. That's 40 laps. He must.
I would imagine that's the only reason he came in. It's kind of foolish to come in knowing you have to make another stop. So I'm going to say that he knows that he's good. So we're going to have to watch how this goes out from here on out. We're going to see maybe this McCoy in 4th place. And actually, here comes Zach Buchanan. Here comes Mitchell Welker. Down pit road they go.
Avoiding the undercut. So this must be the final pit stop, or at least thinking that's going to be the final pit stop.
Well, final pit stop, I would say under green.
Oh, for sure.
So, an interesting move that it brought down the competition as well. I thought those guys might want to stay back out there, just run some laps. And, just get it done. Because they knew that Evans was on older tires, and since they had the draft to work with, they could have potentially stayed out more than them. Because that's another thing you have to remember, that those guys are not in the draft to really kind of tug them along as well. So that's something they may have to think about or not. But again, we'll have to see how this all plays out at the end.
Kenneth McCoy in that 68, that strategy has worked out well for him too. And here he comes down to the pit lane as well. Yep. Will Roberts will stay out on the track, as does Tim Silliman, and Brian Greenlee will stay out.
Yeah, so let's see actually where Buchanan and Welker are.
Coming out of the pits right now. Turn 2.
They're ahead by Evans by quite a bit actually from the looks of it. So there's Evans, and then I think you can see that's Welker ahead.
3.4 seconds is the difference. And a longer pit stop and a little bit longer on pit road sequence, but that has put Evans behind by quite a bit.
Yeah.
To the point where he's going to need a yellow to be competitive.
Pretty much so. So I wonder if maybe he'll be able to catch up just a little bit as Welker takes some time to get up to speed. It does take about a lap or two to get these cars fully up to speed by themselves.
Air resistance is a hell of a drug, man. It takes a long time to push through that air, get that bubble pushing, especially. I mean, these things aren't really big cross-sectional like a stock car is, but they still take a while to get those turbos wound out all the way to where they need to be.
Yeah, so now we're going to see, big question on everyone's hands is when do the rest of the field come down now? Looks like they're going to stay out. They're fine with the way they're running at the moment.
Well, the top 8 are 28 laps into a run, so Tim Silliman can kind of choose whenever he wants to come down to the pit lane. I would expect soon, but maybe you're going to stretch this out and run to the tank out of fuel and have fresher tires for the end of the race.
Yeah, he's also got a little bit of a draft from Kenneth McCoy right now ahead of him, and he's trying to stay a lap. He's trying not to go a lap down, I should say.
Careful with that inside lane. That's where Evans and Cohan Evans almost lost his day, but Cohan surely did.
I think you really, with that corner, you have to choose when you apex it. If you apex it late enough, you avoid the bumps. I think if you're riding that the entire time on the bottom, you might hit some bumps and it'll upset the car. So it's kind of all about timing as well.
Amsoil on board the number 38 for Brian Greenlee, and he's trying to hold off Will Roberts. So this is kind of a tight battle on the racetrack, and these guys have not come to pit road yet, and I wonder if they'll come together as a group, maybe bring Phillip Clark with them as well.
Yeah, and I just can't say, how about Phillip Clark right now having a quite day? He's in 4th at the moment, hasn't all cycled out, but he was in around 9th or 8th place before the pit cycle started. So fantastic job, and he's on the back bumper of Will Roberts now.
Patience really paid off. You mentioned it on the pace lap, Finian. Patience is what gets you to the end of this race, and Phillip Clark has had plenty of that. But now he's got to get that pedal going and get through those gears. And looking on the rear end of Will Roberts now, closing
he looks
in.
racy. So, I mean, he's closing quite a bit to Will Roberts. So let's see what he's able to do. Started 23rd all the way up into 4th now. So again, yeah, patience pays off. And I mean, he was staying out of pretty much everything all day. And then right when nearly everyone was taken out, or a lot of the big contenders out of the race, he stepped up and is able to do something with it. And even solid job too by the 71 of Gale Brooks right behind him.
Brooks, man, dodged a bullet literally, flipping through the air. And
I mean, I don't know if it's just the races that we broadcast or not, but he's just had some terrible, terrible luck to no.
I don't think I've ever seen him have a good race, ever.
No, and none of the wrecks that he's in, it's none of his fault. It's
it's
always
not that he's slow. He just gets involved in people's stuff, and it's like, I feel so bad for him, because it's like, every race that we watch, there's so much promise, and he's starting to work his way through the field, and then boom, gets wrecked by a lap-down car. Boom, gets spun out by someone trying to pass him, or boom, pit road penalty. Something always happens to this poor guy. So running 5th right now, going to be slipping down when the things all cycle out, but top 10 possible for that 71.
Yeah, so it's nice day for him at the moment. So Silman is still our leader. Again, waiting on when he's gonna come into pit road. And I imagine definitely the pit window is open, as we saw some early takers from the 17 of Cohen Evans, 76 of Mitchell Welker, and 9 of Zach Buchanan. Sorry, the 40 of Zach Buchanan. Buchanan is in 9th place. So the top 8 cars have not made their final pit stops. They're all gonna have to come down pit road at some point.
And curious when they will, because now we're down to 35 to go. So you can almost certainly make it on fuel from here on out. I'm pretty sure the other guys can too. These things are a little bit more fuel efficient than a stock car is, so I think they can make it. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. I'm not super familiar with fuel mileage in these cars, to be honest. I don't really race them, so...
Yeah, I'm thinking they can go at least 30. I would say around more.
I think it's more than that. I would say
45-ish. Yeah, and it definitely, yeah. So I would say around in the 40s. Then again, I can imagine that those guys would have pit if they knew that they had to make another stop.
And they for sure had fuel in the tank.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't look like it was a desperation move.
So significant strategy differences here. And again, we're going to see these... Oh, and here comes Phillip Clark. He's down pit road as well. And he
serviced.
John Wilco as well. So that leaves now the top 6 cars on the track still on an old tire. Oh, and here I see Tim Silman in the background there. He's come down pit road.
And brings Gale Brooks and Brian Greenlee with him.
Yeah, so, okay, so all these guys have come down pit road now, so they're going to make their final stop of the race. And now really, the question is, where's Silman going to come out in relation to Buchanan? So here's Buchanan now. You see Silman's taking a stop. Quick stop in these Indy cars, only about 6-7 seconds. And here comes Buchanan across the line.
Silman's just leaving the pit box now.
And passed him, so... Those fresher tires paying off. But now here's the big thing, though. Silman has fresher tires, and by a decent amount as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about 8-lap difference. So, I mean, as Buchanan's tires approach the cliff, theoretically, Silman should come in and catch him at some point. Just a matter of when will he be able to catch him in time.
So Will Roberts and Brandon Minto now in the lead here. And both on lap 35 of their stint, and they're going to have to come down to pit lane relatively soon to get their final service. But again, we've seen the undercut works. That puts Buchanan 4.5 seconds out in front of Mitchell Welker. So Welker's got some work to do if he wants to chase down that 40 and have a shot at the win. But Welker's only 2 seconds ahead of Cohen Evans, so does he back up?
Here we got a battle on our hands here. Now it's actually Tim Silman behind there. So now Silman now on equal tires, or in fact, well, better tires now than McCoy and Evans ahead of him. We're going to see how he's going to be able to do with these guys.
Okay, so here's my thing, Finian. You got no chance at the win if you don't work together. You got about 20 laps to 22 laps to go. Do you hook up with these guys, you get in a single file line, agree not to race, and just go up there and try to catch Zach Buchanan?
Well, I would say, in a way, yes and no, because you kind of have to do this thing where you kind of have to slingshot around each other to really get the draft to work, because the front guy being in the front is not going to do anything. It's not like Daytona where you can kind of push the guy. No. There's nothing to really push in these cars, so you kind of have to do a slingshot maneuver and work with each other. That's, again, the only way they're really going to catch Buchanan, because Buchanan right now, you can see, he's by himself. He has maybe a lap car, I think, ahead of him, but effectively he's by himself, and so is Mitchell Welker, and you can see these guys are not too terribly far behind.
Update on Will Roberts and Brandon Minto. They both came to pit road that last time through, and they're 9th and 10th right now, or 9th and 11th, excuse me. but we're going to have to keep an eye on the difference. Okay, so Evans is actually losing ground to Mitchell Welker. So you have to think, if you're Welker, do you back this up? This is a NASCAR strategy, really. Do you back up to the group behind you in hopes that they'll bring you forward? Or do you just try to ride this out and hope it stays green and hold on to your second place?
For him, I would say, honestly, just hold on to that second place. I mean, those guys are decently back enough. If they catch you, but, you know, I would say don't risk it. You might as well just stay in second. Because you'd rather just fight, you know, just kind of hold place where you are instead of trying to fight 3 other cars and potentially falling back into 5th. Because, I mean, that's the way I see it. Because he's in 7th in the points, he can really use those points, especially considering guys like Roberts and Larkham have crashed out. So, you know, might as well try some, you know, just stay where you are and take the points.
So Nick Cohan just told us in chat, you can go about 32 laps on fuel. If you look at Cohen Evans, 13 laps in fuel already, and he's got 20 to go. So that's 33 laps. So that's, you can make that. I think 32 is a safe bet. So definitely a strategy call there. It's possible he could run out of fuel. I don't think it's likely.
Well, he's kind of laid his bet. He made it. Hey, that's you. You also made that mistake with that quota too. You made your bed, and I have to lay in it. There you go.
You've laid your bed, and now you have to make it. That's not how the saying goes. Not how Grandpa always used to tell it. Anyway, battle for 4th. Kenneth McCoy and Tim Silliman. Silliman's making his way up a little bit to 5th now. And we're right on board that number 39 rig share in iRacing.
It looks like he's keeping Bay at the moment, which is an interesting way to take this race.
Last time through, Buchanan ran 2/10 quicker than everybody else in this other group.
Yeah, I'm looking at that as well. So, I mean, I don't know, honestly. I can't even tell right now if someone's actually trying to catch up to these guys or he's just riding along.
Well, it's we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, Finney, and if Welker doesn't start to reel in Buchanan, without a yellow, that's race over. So Mitchell's got to try something different. Maybe try a different line. You know, play with the throttle through the corner a little bit, try to get a better run off the corner, because last time through, let's see this time, a 40.9 for Zach Buchanan to 41.1, so 2/10 that time Buchanan was quicker. The difference is now 5 seconds between them.
Yeah, so these guys really kind of have to try something. Again, need to try potentially working with each other if you're trying to catch up to the lead. That's really the only way they're going to be able to do it. And actually, McCoy goes ahead of Evans. I think something happened to Evans. Looks like he dropped significantly back. As Silman actually looks to the inside of McCoy.
Is there damage on that car?
I don't know, but he's going significantly slower. He's only going 200.
Maybe he's realized that he can't make his fuel number and has to back it down. That's coming into the pits. Potentially got in the wall there, Finian.
That's what I'm thinking. I kind of want to see a replay, maybe.
Let's see if we can go back and find one.
I think he might have hit turn 1 wall. Or coming out of turn 1, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, got it pretty good there, too, actually.
Oh, okay, so iRacing had a little bug there.
Yeah.
It fixed his damage, but he does have damage to the right side of the car.
Cohen Evans is having such a good race. And going to end it in the pits. Well, he won't end it, but he'll obviously have to service it and lose all that ground. He'll probably come out 14th-ish. But meanwhile, for the lead, Zach Buchanan now 4.6 seconds. Actually, last time Mitchell Welker was 3/10 quicker.
Yeah, I think Buchanan is getting held up by a lap car, so that's kind of helping Mitchell Welker out. And you can see now Selman and McCoy as well. We're trying to, I guess, work together, and you can call it that.
They got a long way to go. I mean, they have to do a lot better than they're doing right now to catch Welker, because they're together. They're running the same time, or actually slower than Welker is by himself. So looks like Buchanan's got this one in pretty good shape. We're going to have 25 to go when we get back around to the line.
So you just got to run a lap car now. We'll see what his pace is going to look like. And really, all Welker needs is just a draft off something, and he can be able to chase back up. But again, not too many cars left on the track to really do anything with. With Evans now in the pits, that's left. Actually, no, Phillip Clark, and I think that's DJ Allen in the 9 that Buchanan just passed.
Tim Silman on pit lane.
Oh, interesting. I
gotta venture to bet that that's another wall contact here.
Maybe, or did he just come down the pits with his own accord?
Let's see. Came onto the pits. Interesting decision.
And he was one of the latest guys that pit. So
didn't need to, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if these guys maybe do have to make a second pit stop.
I'd be surprised though. Interesting, Finian. Nick Cohan's got an idea here in the 96 Will Roberts is for sure good on fuel.
Oh, well, yeah. Roberts was one of the last ones to pit, so maybe that's probably what we're looking at.
So
here.
maybe they can't make it on fuel, Finian, and maybe this is really become a fuel mileage game, and Roberts is sitting in the catbird seat here.
Well, for at the moment, I mean, he does actually have the draft of Wilco, so he does have someone to work with, and that definitely helps pick up the speed for both cars effectively.
Well, he's only 9 laps. Oh, that's still 23. That's 32 laps.
But he's in the draft right now, and you can let off the gas. You have to completely go full tilt with the engine. I don't think they can turn down the engine maps there. This is, I believe, a fixed setup.
Oh, yes.
So but he can definitely let off the engine. You can see he's not passing Wilco; he's staying behind him.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect situation for Roberts. As long as he has someone to really draft with, he can just kind of flutter the throttle a little bit. Doesn't have to completely floor it down to the ground to maintain his speed. So that should be able to tow him along. So that could potentially help him.
Yeah, so I'm curious to know if these guys would even try to save the fuel. I think they're just going to run it out because their lap times have not slowed that much, Vinny. I think they're just going to run it out of fuel, or maybe they just think they can make it.
Well, let's check the difference between Buchanan and Roberts as far as
10 laps, almost.
Yeah, so that's definitely significant enough. So Buchanan's got to come down.
And I think Welker, McCoy.
Yeah.
Brooks probably will as well. The 71 might be able to stretch it.
Yeah. Is Gale Brooks around anyone though? I don't think. No, he's by himself.
Completely on his own.
So he I would imagine he kind of has to. If Roberts definitely couldn't make it by staying out by himself, well, Brooks definitely can. So he may or may not have to come down again. He might probably just throw it out the wind and stay out and see how that goes. But
so from 30th to 6th, this might play into Will Roberts' hands here. This is
yeah. I mean, he's really got a perfect situation. He was low on fuel, needed to save. He has someone to draft with.
Just that last caution fell at just the perfect point to really kind of put this all into turmoil here as we head now to 20 laps to go.
I was questioning why Roberts decided to stay out so long, and I guess that's potentially why, because the fuel situation was not as good as we thought it was going to be for these guys.
The other thing is, if he was really trying to save fuel, why don't you just pop it in 6th gear and kind of short shift it there and maybe get the RPMs a little lower too? Is that useful at all?
I mean, potentially, yeah. Well, I don't know. You have to see. I don't think he has enough really speed to maintain it in 6th, so we'll see what he can do. I guess whatever strategy he's trying to pull off.
We'll go way down on the curb there. I gotta be careful with that line.
Unless he has also potentially saved enough at this point. I'm not sure.
That could be.
Because there are ways to check that to pretty much a very accurate degree, more than iRacing is built in.
Zach Buchanan takes 20 laps to go here at Indianapolis. There should be about 14 minutes left in this thing if it goes green to the end, and we're kind of estimating that it will. The question now becomes who's got the fuel to make it. Here's a battle now for looks like 9th place with Jack Ritchie out in front, Brandon Minto and Brian Greenlee. They're side by side down the back straight.
Yeah, all these guys are in a giant group. They're fighting for a position. Now, I wonder, are these guys able to go again? They are a lap down.
They're going to be close.
So Greenlee can definitely go. He just pit 4 laps ago.
And the next guy.
Oh yeah, actually yeah. So these guys are on this. Well, Richie and Minto are on the same strategy. Oh, that's probably why they're. I mean, that makes sense. You're working with your teammate drafting. I think that's what they're trying to do.
For you to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. so that's effectively what they're doing. Greenlee we know is good to the end. But effectively, if this all plays out the way we think it is, Roberts will cycle out to be the leader. So we're sitting here with 19 laps to go, and we kind of have almost no clue of who's going to win the race.
The other thing is that if something, you see Kenneth McCoy is on pit road right now. Yeah. The other thing, Finian, is that if Roberts can't make it,
Silman's right
Silman's the next guy in line,
and I would say he's definitely good. When he came in,
he's way to the good.
Yeah, so
6 lap old. Yeah,
so he's Silman. We know. I think Silman's probably the first car we know that is definitely good to go. So he's in the catbird seat if Roberts is not good to go. But Roberts is in an almost ideal situation here, being behind Wilco
and down to pit road comes Zach Buchanan. He's in the pits,
and here he comes out, and I would imagine he would fall potentially behind Silman.
And the question becomes now, Brooks definitely has to come, as is John Wilco. Well, again, actually, Brooks was one of the cars that was kind of on the edge here. Well, you know what, Finian? I don't know. We have 18 laps to go and 17 on the stint for Brooks and 18 on for Wilco. I don't know. You gotta get real creative. And Brooks has 7 seconds on the track that he could give up to try to save some fuel. But it's harder to save it here. Like, these cars don't, with all the downforce they have, they don't carry the momentum that stock cars do. They have so much drag that you can't coast effectively like you can in a stock car. Yeah. Especially not at a place like Indianapolis.
Yeah, so I would say that Brooks is definitely definitely worse off. So potentially this would be in Roberts' hands, although Buchanan is behind him about 9 seconds back, and Buchanan's on completely fresh tires. He's completely good to go. He can floor it all the way around, and he does have Silman a little more than a second behind him as well. So if Silman and Buchanan could end up working together, they would be able to catch Roberts.
I just got word from the 71 crew, Finney, that Brooks is going all the way to the end, regardless of if it's going to make it or not. So,
I mean, might as well, honestly. And, you know, honestly, I'm rooting for him. He needs a win like this. I'm completely rooting for a 71. I kind of hope he makes it.
Yeah, that would be an exceptional victory for Brooks and that DeWalt team. So
that being said, though, I think I would rather be in Roberts' situation here.
Yeah, I think I would be too. Playing offense is a little bit better than playing defense. I mean, it's only a 2-lap difference, but it's 5 miles. That's a gallon of fuel.
Yeah, that is a lot to ask for saving fuel-wise. It might not seem like that much, but it is a ton. You need to save many, many laps ahead for that. Yeah.
Holy. Okay, our timing and scoring is showing that Brooks has been on pit road 16 times tonight.
Yeah. I don't think we have that many cautions too either, so I don't know how.
Well, we have not had.
I guess he probably
cautions.
Came in multiple times.
Oh, for sure.
Probably what it is, but yeah.
And Brooks started
28th, so he's similar to Roberts.
Okay, the two guys that we have in contention of the win have started 28th and 30th.
Yeah.
What a change of events. And the top guys that we thought would have been competing, they're sitting down there right now in 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
All out of the race.
Out of the race, so. And 60-plus laps down. So what a... you can see at the back of the frame here.
Yeah, it's just so Roberts come out of the turn here, and if we keep watching, we're going to see potentially... Oh, I guess they're a little too further back out of the frame. But Buchanan and Silman...
There they are.
Yeah, they're with each other. So Buchanan seems to be ahead of Silman by a decent amount, enough where the draft's not enough really effect for Silman. But Buchanan was able to bring down about a 9 second and change delta now between him and Roberts. So this could potentially... This can go really either way at this point. Now it's down to 7.7 seconds.
See, Roberts get a little bit tight there off the corner. So we talk about 14 laps to go now. If you're Brooks and you look down at that fuel gauge, that fuel calculation, and you see the number of laps you have left, if it is right on the money, you know that it's going to start stuttering into 3. You only have a 6-second lead. Do you stay out there with 2 or 3 to go? Or
I mean, at this point, might as well.
Do you commit to it? I mean, the worst you're going to finish is really going to be 12th. So if you're Brooks...
I mean, I might as well try something. And he's not going to fall all the way back. I think he's actually... No, he would actually fall back to 10th at the moment. That's how many cars are on the lead lap. And potentially less, because he would... going at over 200 miles an hour, you would potentially have enough speed to get around most of the track to run out on the back straightaway. So
look at the gear indicator on that number 71.
Yeah.
In 6th gear.
Yeah, pretty much has to. You know, Roberts could get away with a little bit more considering the situation he's in.
All right, so if we look at the display of the 71, you see the car is in 6th gear. Let's head on back to Will Roberts. Look at him. He's in 5th. A little bit more confident about the fuel in this car, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, he also is about 2 or 3 laps better on fuel-wise than Brooks, and also has a little bit of gas. So that's probably where Roberts is just trying to sit in 5th, just trying to keep with Wilco at the moment. But Wilco, we haven't really talked about him. He definitely has to come in because he hasn't been really behind Roberts at all. Well, Roberts has been tailing behind him.
He's only 1 lap farther than Brooks. I just don't think you're going to make it at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, he hasn't been in the draft at all, so I just don't see this working out.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with him.
But neither has Brooks.
Yeah, but Brooks does have 1 lap less. I mean, if Brooks is really marginal, Wilco, that extra lap would kill him. He would run out with coming before the white flag, potentially, if it's that close. So, you know, again, another big question mark. And if Wilco, by some stretch of the imagination, has enough gas left, that means that Roberts would have to pass him and that Brooks would win. So, I don't know. It's just a whole bunch of different situations here that are going on at the moment. Oh, and actually, notably on the time deltas, we look, Buchanan 5 seconds behind That's close quite a bit. So I mean,
5 seconds behind Roberts.
Because Roberts, again, we don't know really what his situation is, if he can really go if Buchanan catches up to him. And all Buchanan has to do, he has to get to about a second, really.
Yeah, and then the draft will
takes him from there, and then Roberts is not really in any place to defend.
Okay, look at okay, you can't, everyone else can't see. That's actually, do I have last lap time? I don't. Gale Brooks in the 71 last lap time was a 42.3. That is very slow.
Yeah.
Okay, look at Zach Buchanan's a 40.8. 2 seconds a lap, Buchanan gets there by the end of the race.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at the moment, so I don't know. Unless Brooks has enough to potentially pick up the pace, who knows at this point? Well, it's too many question marks in the air, really.
So you can see first through third there.
And there you see Buchanan come out, so they're all separate. They're within a straightaway of each other.
So Buchanan's really on offense and now got to push extremely hard, but again, lap time through a 42.4 to a 40.9. That is a gap that can be eliminated in the amount of laps we have left.
Yeah, and honestly, the way he's going at is now down to 4 seconds. Honestly, Roberts does not start going. Roberts is in potential of getting past here.
Definitely, I think it's inevitable now. I did not expect Zach Buchanan to be this strong right out of the gate, and I guess that lead, that track position earlier, and the amount of distance that he had on Will Roberts prior to that last pit stop has really put Buchanan in a good spot here to steal away Roberts' potential. You see, Roberts, I believe, is right on the tail. I think he knows. I think he's trying to push Wilco up further.
Honestly, if I was Roberts, potentially what he could do, considering he's not been pushing, potentially let Buchanan catch up to him and maybe try to draft off of him.
Yeah, but then again, you're fighting on older tires too, so that's almost a diminishing returns at some point. I don't know if you can make that work, at least for the win. You might be able to save some more fuel that way.
Oh, and there's Gale Brooks ahead, actually. He's significantly closer now.
42.7, nearly 3 seconds off the pace.
So even if Brooks is able to really gun it, I don't think he's going to be able to stay ahead of Roberts.
Now, this all becomes how much time can you give away without giving the lead away. That's really what it's coming down to now with 7 laps to go for Gale Brooks in that 71 car.
Yeah, this is all coming down to the wire. We're potentially going to have some sort of change for the lead, whether it be in the pits or on track between our top 4.
Leader, second, third, and fourth, all within about now 5 seconds here. So it's closing and closing fast for that number 40 and the leader of the 71. Side by side down the back straight.
Yeah, Roberts is starting to go now. He knows that he has to get it. He knows that he needs to start moving away from Buchanan.
And now he's almost within draft range of the 71, and he will be there in a lap or two if Brooks continues to run the lap times that he's running. So
I think that's what he's potentially going to do. Yeah, Wilco knew that Wilco definitely had to come down at some point.
Well, that almost seals the fate on the 71, though. I don't think a lap is going to be that big of a difference.
Unless he decided to pit in early. So again, we still kind of don't know what Brooks is sitting at. He could be very close, and Wilco just decided to give up at this point. So we're going to have to see now. Because Will Roberts is just out of the distance away from Brooks. So we're going to see, actually, it looks like Brooks has picked up the pace just a little bit.
Yeah, 41.9 that last time through. So 10th slower than Roberts, but still a second off of what Zach Buchanan's running. So the difference between Buchanan and the leader is 2.5 seconds. So it's only going to take him 2.5, 3 laps to get there at this pace. That's nothing.
And Buchanan is just about entering draft range for Roberts ahead of him.
5 laps to go here at Indianapolis. It's a 125-lap race. The top guys we thought were going to be contending have all been wrecked out. It now comes down to Gale Brooks, Will Roberts, and Zach Buchanan. They're battling for the lead. Brooks and Roberts are trying to stretch the fuel. Buchanan's trying to charge from the late race pit stop to make this all work. He's got fresh tires. Someone's out of control. That's the 62 car of Wilco. Out of control in the back straightaway. Spins.
No caution, but that made Buchanan have to cut through the grass, so Buchanan has lost all momentum with him. And that's changed everything. No caution on the track. We are still green. I'm amazed they didn't bring out a caution.
And I don't know how that happened. Wow, what happened to the 62?
I don't know. He just clipped. He
actually clipped Buchanan.
Yeah, I think he clipped the grass or something. Yeah, he
clipped the grass, spun across the racetrack, bounces off the wall, and collects just.
So that's gonna effectively almost take. I think it's gonna take Buchanan out of the running between this. But here comes Roberts on the back bumper of Gale Brooks, and it's all come down to these two now. Well, do these two have enough fuel, and does Buchanan have enough time to catch back up to them?
Buchanan might have some damage there, Finian, but we'll keep an eye on that. The distance here. It's only 2.3 seconds.
Oh, and Brooks is out.
Brooks is out of fuel. Comes to pit road. Now Roberts has 2 laps more fuel than the 71, but we have 4 laps to go. Oh man, this is going to be tight.
Again, Roberts, he has 2 more laps of fuel. He was riding in the draft that entire last run. So if he has enough, it's going to be very close.
All right, 2 seconds now is the delta. 1.9. There's Buchanan right there trying to chase down the 96 of Will Roberts. Will Roberts started all the way back in 30th at the beginning of the night. Where is he going to end up after all this, after all the chaos here? It's coming down to it. We're going to have 2 to go when we get to the line. Can Roberts stretch it? It's going to be mighty close.
It looks like he was actually trying to save a little bit there. That's how Buchanan caught up a huge amount. Again, almost approaching drafting distance now.
And once he's in the drafting distance, Buchanan's running as hard as he can. And it doesn't look like the damage is affecting him. Ran a 40.6 last time through. Now he's within it.
Yeah, I think Roberts is running at a slower pace, and I think that's on purpose because he knows he's not good, which is kind of worrying in that situation.
2 laps to go now, and all Roberts has to do is make that fuel tank last 5 more miles through turn 2 here at Indianapolis. Some lap traffic up ahead that Roberts can use for a second.
But Buchanan is charging fast, and considering how slow Roberts is
Roberts is out. I think Roberts is out here, Finian, or at least he dropped to the bottom. No, maybe he's not.
Maybe he's trying to just take defensive, make Buchanan work on the outside. They got a lap car ahead of him.
He's going to tuck in behind. He's trying to look where to go. Can't find a way around him. He's going to tuck in behind Buchanan. We're coming to the white flag now. Is Roberts out of fuel? No, he's going to stay out on the track. He's committing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Roberts has enough for the win here, but he's going to have enough to at least maintain second place.
Hopefully. I mean, he's still got to make it around the rest of the racetrack. Mitchell Welker is now within 3 seconds of this if something goes wrong, but I think Roberts' tires are done, and Zach Buchanan is charged from a late race pit stop. This
almost got taken out with 5 to go. Still kept it going.
But Buchanan jumps out now to a 6/10 of a second lead. Behind him, Silliman and Kenneth McCoy are battling side by side heading into turn 3.
Yeah, this is the fight for that is 4th place. But out of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway for the final time. Zach Buchanan, through adversity through the end there, he's going to come home, take the win at Indy. Will Roberts in 2nd place. Mitchell Welker is going to come home 3rd, and then Tim Silman is going to finish ahead of Kenneth McCoy. No, is that
Kenneth McCoy got 4th place? Well, unless the timing is a little messed up here because of when he switched.
Yeah, so Kenneth McCoy got 4th place. Tim Silman in 5th.
So Zach Buchanan, what a finishing stint! Just charged up through the field.
Oh, and actually looked like Roberts finished in 3rd. Actually, looks like he ran out of gas to the line
by 2/100ths of a second.
Yeah, we needed to catch that. That was mighty close there at the end for him.
Oh,
wow, that was extremely close. We need to do a slow.
Yes, we do. We definitely do.
That was insanely close.
All right, here we go. I don't like how choppy this is going to be, but we'll take a look at it here. Mitchell Welker.
Check if we go on the nose on Welker.
Here we go.
Yeah, so there's Roberts on the outside there.
To the right-hand side of your screen, there's Roberts.
And here comes the line. And he gets it barely. Wow.
And what a shame for Roberts. I mean, still, okay, first of all, 30th to 3rd.
Oh, I can't imagine he's disappointed at that. I mean, disappointed he couldn't get the win, sure, but I don't think, like, overall finishing, he couldn't ask for more than that. But that was mighty close between Welker and Roberts.
But as we head back live here at Indianapolis, Zach Buchanan wins at Indianapolis. He was the quickest in that final stint, just charged up through the field. An amazing run for that number 40 at the end of the race. And the whole Cordis group out there on the racetrack celebrating it with him. What a charge at the end there, Finian.
Yeah, fantastic job by them. Are they going to take a photo? It looks like it. But, yeah, fantastic job by him. I was amazed that he was not taken out at the end there. After almost colliding with Wilco, went through the grass. I think that's a first. I don't think we've seen anyone go through the grass with 5 laps to go and then still come up to take the win.
What a victory for Buchanan. You have to feel for Gale Brooks, though. Comes home in 8th. Not a bad finish, but got to be disappointed trying to stretch that fuel.
I mean, at that point, you know, props to him for at least trying there.
Well, Buchanan did a burnout on the bricks. He's got to go kiss him now, and he's going to get some rubber all over his lips. But
I don't think he's going to care at this point. That was a well-earned win from Buchanan.
So we'll meet you in the Pagoda here in a few minutes to talk about that race, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us for the interviews. Welcome back here to Sim TV. We're here with race winners Zach Buchanan. Zach, a pass in the grass coming to the couple laps to go. You almost got taken out by a lap car crashing. You came from the back after making a late race pit stop and charged through the field and still went away in the final closing laps. Tell us about those last few laps and what was running through your mind.
Honestly, I can't believe I did it with Will Wilco and Gail trying to fuel save on that run. I didn't think they'd be able to do it, and honestly, we just got lucky with how it panned out. When Wilco exited the pits at one time and spun, he tagged me, and that affected the handling of my car, where I was on the verge of losing it in every turn. So I can't believe I did it.
Well, it was certainly fun to watch. Was there any thought in terms of like the last caution there before everyone made that pit stop? Were you guys looking at your fuel calculations and saying, "Oh, I'm going to be a couple laps short," or was it just I can't make it, I'm definitely going to pit twice kind of thing?
We weren't sure if there was going to be another caution later in the race, so we decided to tank up and try to make it to the end, because you know how it is with Indy, you never know. And from there, we just kind of winged it.
All right, and we were watching that battle there with Will Roberts come into the closing finish there. Did you know that you had the upper hand on him, or was it just a matter of just getting around him and driving around him to take that victory away?
I thought I'd have the upper hand on him at first, but once I got that damage, I wasn't sure because I was that much slower and that close to putting it in the wall, so I wasn't sure. It was a stressful last couple laps, I'll tell you that much.
For sure. But Zach, congratulations on your victory here at Indianapolis. Always got to enjoy kissing the bricks and drinking the milk by the Pagoda. Congratulations on the victory. It was certainly a fun one to watch.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Mitchell Welker, Sim TV booth, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, Mitchell. Well, you stole away a second at the last possible second, and by 2/100ths of a second. Tell us about those last couple laps and the fuel strategy that led to it.
Well, it was a great strategy by Zach, first of all, to get that initial undercut to put us in the position to get the 1-2 here. It was the second to last stop. And then we also pit a bit early for the last stop, and we were just good to the end on gas. And we knew that Will and them had pitted about 5 laps later than us on the second to last stop, and we knew they were trying to save. And it was just all about just keeping it on the track and waiting to see if they pit or slow down or what, and we really got away with it there.
Yeah, so tell us when you're coming to that final lap there, coming to the checkers. We're trying to find it right now to take a look at it, but you beat out Will Roberts by just a second. We saw you cut to the right as you got around him there. Was that just trying to make sure that you had that spot, or were you just trying to fit between him and the lap car that was there too?
Bit of both. Yeah, I was trying to get close to see if I got it as well. Just, see if I got the wing ahead, and then the lap car was there as well. It really wasn't trying to wreck him at all.
No, for sure not. But Mitchell, it's been a great season for you so far. Won a couple weeks ago, but a second place here. What are you looking forward to? The point standings wise, you're looking pretty good. I think you're one start down on everybody else. But what are you looking forward to? What's the next track that you got circled on your schedule?
Well, I was talking with Zach earlier, actually. He was recommending Milwaukee for sure. But I'm also looking at maybe making that a drop week and go in Kentucky or Chicagoland instead, because they'll definitely be on the calendar next season, one of them at least. And, kind of running on a budget here, so I'm just trying to figure out what I can run with. And I definitely want to make a run for the championship, but I just got to do it smart and just keep coming to races, keep getting good finishes.
All right, Mitchell, thanks for talking to us. Fantastic finish for you, second place here at Indianapolis.
Thanks.
And Will Roberts will be the next one. Join us here in the booth. Will, that was frustrating, but also you can't be disappointed in a podium finish here today, can you?
I mean, I was sure for that whole last run that when this was all said and done, we'd be in victory lane. So it's heartbreaking, but it was a good run. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad for all the guys at 703, but it's just heartbreaking whenever you're this close at Indy.
For sure. You just got nicked out for that second place spot by just over 2/100ths of a second. Coming to the checkers there. Also, we should mention that you won the Unreal Esports Media Hard Charger Award, 30th to 3rd. So if you look at the end of the day, I know you missed out on second, you missed out on winning, and I know that was your strategy right out of the gate was to win. But if you look at the whole thing from start to finish, 30th to 3rd, is there anything positive you could take away from a finish like that?
Yeah, gotta plan these strategies better and have them in mind when we get these get back to going green, because we didn't have the strategy going until about halfway through that first green flag run before we came in and pitted. And if we'd done that, I think that would have gotten us the W.
All right, well, 3rd place, not bad. I know you're disappointed in not winning that race, but certainly a great performance from you. We'll talk to you later, but thanks for coming up here in the booth to talk to us for a little bit.
Of course, thank y'all. Thank everybody that comes out, and yeah, thank everybody.
All right, well, we'll talk to you later. All right, I believe our next and final person join us in the booth will be Gail Brooks, and that was a tough one to watch there. You came up just a couple laps short on the fuel. Tell us about those final laps and what was running through your head.
Yeah, I was hoping for the best case scenario. I had some spotter help, and there's, as I'm sure you guys all saw, there's quite the moment there with Zach, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like, well, maybe I'll get a timely yellow and we won't go back green. So at that point, my bed was made, so I had to kind of just lie in it and figure I'd give as best try as I can. I tried saving, but I didn't have any drafts, so it was kind of a losing battle. But it was still worth a shot. I mean, it's Indy, so I mean, you got to go for it, but still a lot of fun. My hands are still kind of shaking from that one.
Well, one of the things that Finney and I were talking about, we were rooting for you so much because we've watched you race in the Rig Share Fuel Cup Series and how frustrating it's been to get a finish without getting caught up in someone else's mess. And today, it looks like you kept your nose pretty clean. You avoided a couple wrecks out there. How do you do that from midfield there, dodging those bullets? I think there was one time you went underneath somebody. Is there anything you try to do to keep yourself out of trouble in an IndyCar?
These things are really hard to do that just because of how fast everything happens. I got lucky on especially that one off of 3 and 4, I think, that you're referring to. And yeah, it was a lot of times just some of it I was far enough back before it so I could get checked up. And yeah, some of it was just luck of the draw. Like if I was 2-3 car lengths further, I don't think there'd be anything I could do. But yeah, I mean, definitely kind of foot was kind of hovering over the brake pedal when there was big traffic in front of me, but did all I could.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, and good to see you. Still top 10 finish, nothing to be hanging your head over. It was a great run for you. Almost had it. Just needed a couple more laps of fuel.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys putting this on for us.
No problem. Thanks for talking. All right, Finian. Well, that wraps up the interviews here tonight. We're just going through all the finishers here. And again, I think one of the biggest stories of the night was all the people that we expected to run well were not around even to the halfway point.
Yeah, no, it was kind of amazing to see kind of just a question mark thrown over this race nearly after that, before that last green flag run started. Pretty much had no clue who was going to win that race at that point. We had an idea, maybe that would be Tim Silman, but Silman was doing well at one point, but just couldn't get the strategy done in time and lost pace to Zach Buchanan. And then the other guys like Will Robertson and Gail Brooks, who put on tried to throw some strategy and almost got away with it, but we're just a little bit short. So yeah. It was a fantastic race to watch at the end, not knowing who was going to win. Yeah, and again, I got to feel for Danny Roberts and Stephen Larkamp, both guys that were extremely quick. The front row, both taken out in the same accident there. I believe it was around lap 50 that happened. So both those guys, bad points today for them. They'll move forward on to the next race. But Indianapolis, 125 laps. Fitting, where do we head next? I think the next race that we broadcast is it's Milwaukee next week, I believe. Yeah,
isn't
next week we are broadcasting at Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, yeah. So 9 o'clock Eastern time again here on Sim TV. But looking ahead, Sunday night is our next broadcast, I believe. Yes, for the Three-Wide Truck Series, that will be from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We are going to be on PTR TV tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, or at least I will be. I don't know if Finney will be around for it, but we're going to be on PTR TV for the broadcast lounge. We're going to be talking with GSRC and a couple other guys. VRN, I believe, is going to be there. So talking about the state of broadcasting and some other things. So pop over onto that PTR TV, give them a subscription as well as us if you're not subscribed here. So Sunday night, Three-Wide Truck Series. Then Tuesday, Fuel Rig Share Cup Series action is back. And we have a trophy that is being designed right now that is pretty cool looking. So keep your eyes out on that. And that'll be popping in a broadcast here sometime soon. Thanks for sticking with us for 125 laps in our SimTV's first doubleheader here on Thursday. It was a wild one. Ferrari Challenge earlier tonight was action-packed, as was this race. Took a while for it to get going, but when it did, it was action-packed.
Yep, definitely. So, fantastic race to watch at the end there. Again, just with the mystery up in the air, not knowing who was going to take the check, who's going to win, pretty much with 2 laps to go, and Buchanan finally got around Roberts.
All right, well, that'll wrap it up from SimTV here tonight. I'm Kyle Heyer here with Finney and DeCuna. We'll see you on Sunday. Thanks for sticking with us. Have a good night.